Well, Jared got tired, so we're gonna do this on my channel. Uh-oh. On my channel, I don't have to wear the headphones. See who shows up. I told y'all I was gonna try and do this. Uh-oh. You are first. So we just did 2.5 hours over Jared's channel. Oh, I don't think we'll do 4. I don't think so. Don't get me wrong, that was a blast. Jake, hey. No, you can always watch the one on Jared's channel. It's a lot of fun. Right? It's absolutely not the first time I've ever done that. I honestly think I need to move. I have to relocate something because I don't think I should be eating pizza and drinking with my MacBook on my workbench. I don't have $1,700 to replace this MacBook Pro with. So I think we'll relocate. Sorry guys, I'm coming back. Well, that's no good. There's a watermelon and this juice. This probably doesn't belong in my chair. Watermelon's fine. Pizza night. Well, the wife and the kid had a bunch of stuff to do. My kid does Kumon, which is an after-school advanced math program. They do advanced math and advanced reading. So she does the math program. And so they went skating. And then after that, they went to Kumon, which is, I mean, it's clear across town. So the whole thing was, you know, I had to go to Costco anyway. My wife needed a couple things. Why not just get pizza at Costco? I mean, that's a no-brainer. It's probably the best deal you're gonna get on food. I hope everyone sees this. I don't want this to be like, this would be great if like as many people show up as they did last time. We had like 500 or 600 people last time. That was fun. Uh-oh, sorry. I was cleaning the lens. You didn't even get to see all of it. Like, it was a blast. Like, Jared asked me some questions. Oh, I've got the apple juice today. We got like that much left. What shirt is that? That's the same one I had. This is my sea snake design on a shirt. So there's a link to it in the description below, to my affiliate link. It's Ember Shirt Co. They asked me if I wanted to have a shirt design. What kind of smelly pizza is that? It's pepperoni. You're in Alaska. You don't know what pepperoni pizza is. You got like elk. Yeah. You got like elk skin and whale fat and fermented fucking fish served on a tortoise shell. What's that? It's pizza. No, it's not. That's disgusting. You got that coming, Greg. You know you've worked towards that. I do like elk. What is that? It's caribou penis. You should have some. It's delicious. This is 5 fast life reviews. Had never seen. Okay. I told Jared I don't want to do the 5 fast knife reviews. I don't like the idea of it. And he goes, I don't fucking either. I mean, go ahead. Fuck. Jeremy, I mean, you've done a lot. I mean, you've given me a lot of. Go ahead, just post it up. But at any rate, like I said, so Jared's like, I was like, I don't want to do 5 fast knife reviews. And he's like, I don't either. But guess what? The algorithm loves it. He's like, it'll give you traffic. And I'm like, all right. And plus, it's bang for your buck. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, plus, some of those knives in your case, you did reviews on 5 years ago. And you haven't done, like, guys have not went back and watched videos from 5 years ago. And I was like, It's a valid point. So I picked 5 knives that you might not have seen out of my knife case. Knives that I really like. I'm probably going to do another fast 5. Do I carry the Gent much? I don't these days, and it's not because I don't love it. I don't carry the Gent much these days because, to tell you the truth, I have a hard time carrying my knives because Jared sent me like 20 or 30 knives, 25 knives, something like that. He's about to send me another bunch, and I'm like, I really don't carry my knives. I make room. I carry this all the time. Like, I've always wanted these knives. This was a grail for me. I have 2 knives that were grails. I said I always had to have. You don't have to thank me for my service. It was a pleasure. I enjoyed every fucking minute of it. So, it's just like, it makes sense because there's knives in that case that I forget that you guys haven't watched all of the knives. I know all of the videos, and I forget that there's guys that have only watched a couple of my videos. And, you know, I have so many great knives in that case that I could re-review in the new format and being better at it and have better quality and you know, a new way to do things, and the way I'm doing things with higher quality, better camera, better lighting, all that stuff. So, G-ball at the in-laws. What's up, yo? Nothing much. Drinking the old Irish applesauce in the Punisher mug. Guys, I don't know if I told you before. Yeah, I did. I was drunk when I did it. I made this and I put it on Instagram. This is mine, and I had bought an entire box of these square Crown Royal mugs. And I have the stencil still, and I got rid of all these mugs, all these whiskey glasses, because no one bought them. I was selling those. I was trying to sell them. I'm eating my supper. I know, but I don't have the glasses anymore. I took them to Goodwill because no one bought them, and I'm like, fuck it. I bought them at Goodwill. I'll take them back. Let them make money twice. Sorry, that's rude. I'm talking with my mouth full. Is that better? So I see my cousin Jake is in here. I might tell some family stories, Jake. You can verify the... you can verify the validity of them, like our cousin Matt, or our cousin Ron, who has worse brain damage than me because he got drunk and decided to ride a motorcycle without a helmet. And then his mom got all mad because we mentioned it in a thing, like, oh, well, you know what? Uh-oh. Aiden! I think Shopcat left. Hang on a second, Aiden. Check this out. Let's see. Aiden? I don't have a bell, but I got a thermos and a metal, ruler. It's Jared's ruler. I don't care if I screw up the anodizing on it. I'll just dink the shit out of it. I'm sending that to him when I send all this stuff back. Let's see. Which sounds better? That or... No, it definitely doesn't sound as good. Oh, there we go. That's what we're going to use tonight. We'll set those next to each other. I had a joke I was about to say, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. That's a very poor, it was a very off-color, not off-color joke, like it wasn't a racist joke or anything, but it's definitely not a joke that, how does the actual bottle sound? Let's see. I don't like that as much. Let's see what it sounds like with the lid off. No, well, but the lid's off anyway, so let's go ahead and do this. Jim. So that was Greg. Greg kept picking on it, and I don't know what he's talking about. I think it was probably from the live feed that I did when we first moved in, and the camera wasn't great, and it didn't have very good quality, but he's been picking on it, and I was like, I'm going to block you if you keep doing it. I wouldn't have moved in here if shit was moldy, or not. You guys missed it. Shopcat just left. Shopcat just left. He was here just a little bit ago. You guys will know if Shopcat comes back because the light behind me will come on. 15 people, 16 likes. $2. You guys ever heard the joke, rectum damn near killed him? Have you ever heard the actual joke that goes with the punchline? Because I do know the actual joke that goes to punchline. I used it for an opening on one of my YouTube videos, and people thought it was hilarious, but I don't know if you guys have ever actually heard it. Would you guys like to hear the actual joke? And I'll wait. Wait till a couple people tell me. Why are you selling all your EWCs? Nicolas Cage. Jack, that is like one of my favorite things. That I sent that to Jim Skelton and he goes, thanks, I hate it. I'm like, you're welcome, sir. I had to prep. There's enough people of you that like the idea of the joke. Why not? Okay. Sphincter. So little Johnny goes to school. He comes in. Yeah, it's pizza. That wasn't the joke. Let me start that over again. Do that. Yeah, it's pizza. Little Johnny goes to school. Yeah, it's pizza. End of the joke. No, that wasn't it. I may have been drinking already. So little Johnny goes to school. He walks in. He's got his head down. Teacher looks at him. Just goes, "What's the matter, Johnny? Everything go okay this weekend?" It's Monday morning. He goes, "Well, Teach, no, it didn't." She goes, "Well, what happened?" He goes, "Well, this weekend, some guy driving down the road, drunk, goes off the road and hit my dog with his car right in the asshole." And she goes, "You mean wrecked him?" "Wrecked him, hell, damn near killed him." That's the joke. Wrecked him, hell, damn near killed him. Wrecked him. It's always funny. I know a lot of people have heard the punchline. That's like in the Navy, that was just something you said. It was just funny. Like you didn't even have to hear the joke. I didn't even know the joke until I was 40. I was in my 40s when I heard the joke for the first time. I heard the punchline like several times a day when I was in the military. Wrecked him, hell, damn near killed him. Never heard the joke that went with it. I'm not lying. You heard that joke like everywhere on the ship, and you're like, it's funny. That's hilarious. Wrecked him, hell, damn near killed him. I never knew the joke that went with the punchline until I was in my 40s. And when I heard the joke that went with it, I laughed so hard, I thought I was going to vomit. Metaphor. Isn't that thing that, like, if you can't swallow medicine, you, like, stick it on your finger and put it up your butt? Oh, that's a suppository. And that's what you can do with your opinion. Well, that's the first I've eaten anything since we came back from the gym. And I know how this live feed's going to go because I have this out already and there's beer in the refrigerator. And if I don't eat something, this can go off the rails real fast. Refer to last week. I can't do that here. I got to put this on my MacBook so I can drink and chat comfortably. Well, I'll tell you the truth. What you should do, Jake, is just come down here and hang out while I'm doing one sometime. You don't live that far away. Your kid could hang out with my kid. And hey, Shopcat's here. Shopcat's in the house. So, I'm almost 50. There's two kinds of people in this world. Those that admit to their age, and those that know how old they are and just don't fucking care. Age is a state of mind, Jake. It is. Except for fat back going, how's my back hurt? Not my age drive time. I mean, I have a cot. You can sleep in the garage. Oh yeah, I have a wife too. Never mind. I know what I just said. Disregard what I just said. Okay. Here's the thing. I don't know how to do that. So any of you that might be intelligent enough to help me figure that out. And I have to apologize. I have been calling Metal Complex Scott for months. And his name's Richard. Shopcat. Hey, come here. Come here. Hang on a second. Shopcat's here. Let me get Shopcat. Come here. Hey. Come here. Oh. Say hi to everybody, Shopcat. Say hi. You are just so sweet. You are so sweet and tender and so soft. My God, this cat is soft and sweet. I love this cat. Floof. Say hi. Say hi, buddy. He's not even trying to get down. You want to get down? You want to go to your chair? Hmm? Say hi. All right, but there you go, buddy. My God. I'm allergic to cats. I don't even care. I'll have itchy eyes. I like that cat. Oh, he's up in the chair. Neko shop or shop Neko. Yuka, how would you say shop cat in Japanese? Like, how do you say shop in Japanese? Like, kaimono janai. Like, a place where you work. Like a shop. I'm asking. Let's go find out for sure. Yuka, if you have a cat in a place you work, like a shop, like a workshop, like if you're making something, what do they call that? Like a cat that hangs out in your shop? We call it a shop cat, which is what I call that. Cat, Neko, cat. Like that cat's in my workshop. So like if you work somewhere and there's a cat there, what do you call that? Like a shop, we call it a shop cat. Like it just hangs out in your shop. Is there a Japanese for that? No, just a cat. Neko. Not?
I don't understand what is your shop.
Shop. Not like kaimono. Kaimono janai, like your workplace. Shigoto no neko. Like if you have like a, say you work like at a place and it has a workshop where you make things and there's a cat there to keep away the mice. Like we have farm cats and barn cats.
Like a walking cat?
Like,
you don't have the walking cat.
Not working, but like in a place where you work. Like the cat just shows up, like a stray cat that comes into the place.
In Japan, not supposed to be in the animals there.
Okay. In Japan, animals aren't supposed to be in the workplace. There's rules, and the cats follow them. I don't know. I guess that's what she's telling me. Japanese cats are more well behaved than American cats because Americans suck. Well, I guess that answers that. She's like, we don't have that. We just don't let them fucking in. I got a work cat? We don't fucking have that. What are you talking about? Oh, you got your rescue? Oh, hey, Matt, what's going on? How you been? I haven't seen you on a feed for a long time, Matt. Sinister Knife Clips, where are you? What do you live in? Like Massachusetts or something? And are you like 80? Because it's early. I was kidding, bro. You could. I'm old, I know. I was in bed by like. Tell you a story. So last night, so my daughter goes to bed. My daughter has a hard bedtime, except for certain days. Like if we're gonna watch movies and stuff, sometimes she can stay up till 11. But her hard bedtime is 9:30. She's got to be in bed, teeth brushed, in bed, lights off. She can have her TV on just noise. So like she listens to YouTube music videos and stuff on her phone, just on her TV. That's it. So last night, I told my daughter good night because I heard her moving around and shuffling around, and I thought it was 9:30. And I came out here and I watched TV, and I was so tired, and I was like, I can't keep my eyes open. I got to go to bed because I've been working out with her, and I'm almost 50, and I work out with her in the mornings at 7 a.m. And so, like, I'm like, I gotta go to bed. I'm getting tired, and I walk out in the kitchen and I hear her music and stuff upstairs. And I was like, why is our daughter still awake? And my wife goes, it's not even 9:30 yet. And I was like, oh my God, I'm old. I was in bed and asleep by 10 o'clock last night. Like out, hardcore out. Like my wife came in and I had my phone was on, I had my headphones in. I was like, oh God, woke me up. I'm past 46. Not much past 46, but guys, I'm gonna tell you that live feed with Jesus, I missed some. How did I miss who? Okay, so if you guys dropped a live chat, if you dropped money, I apologize. I didn't see it. Apparently, you're at like $7, and I didn't see it happen. So guys, you remember I did that live feed and I was explaining to you about like why I can't go back to work with like the autoimmune disorder, and my doctor's like, well, every time they come up with these new mask mandates, basically it's a hard no. I can't do retail. I can't work at like, basically the only thing I do is work from home. And so I talked about it in the live feed and I was like, yeah, so I'm just gonna, basically I'm gonna double up my content, because I can use YouTube and ad revenue to help try and bridge that gap. I just gotta figure out the algorithm, get all this stuff going. And I had someone go in and drop the nastiest fucking comment. Why are you being such a bitch? And you're just like, you're begging for your, I was like, I didn't ask my subscribers for anything. I always say it, like, if you can afford to support the channel, go ahead. But like, I can't afford to support channels I love. That's why you guys are seeing the video channels in the background, because that's how I'm supporting. I'm providing you links to those channels and things like that. Because those are channels I love. I can't give them money. Like Jared, I would love to. I'd give Jared usually if Jared sends me a super chat, I send him one back. That's like, if you see me dropping a super chat on Jared's channel, it's because he dropped one on mine, and I'm just basically giving him back his money. So I would love to support some of these channels and get on their Patreons, but I can't. So the next best thing is I provide that content for you to go follow, and then they get more views. I was always like, just shut up and be a man and figure it out. And I'm like, figure out what? I literally cannot go back to work. I'm vaxxed. I can't go back to work because I have an autoimmune disorder and I take immunosuppressors. And even though I have the vaccine, I can't go back to work. Like he won't let me. I mean, I don't know what he expects me to do. The state of California is like, oh, you don't qualify for disability. And because it's a medical issue, that makes it disability, not unemployment. And I'm like, really? So the state of California doesn't see it. Like, that's great, but we're still not going to pay you because you used up all your disability. And I'm like, I know I used up all my disability, but I can't go back to work. And I'm like, well, you have to get unemployment. And when I talk to unemployment, they're like, that's a medical issue. You got to talk disability. And I'm like, it's like that old commercial, I do more coke so I can work harder, so make more money, so I can do more coke, so I can work harder, so I can make more money, so I can do more coke, that's the circle I'm in. I don't get it. So that's why you're seeing live feeds twice a day. On some days you're seeing videos go up. Jared's trying to help me with stuff. I think I figured out something on the algorithm. Right? Who are you going with? I don't know yet. I don't know who's going to be there. Okay, well, you let me who you're going with, and then you can go. I'm like, okay, well, what time are you going to be home? I don't know yet. I don't know what time it's going to be over. What time's the movie at? This? Well, who's going? I told you earlier. I don't fucking know who's going. Well, is this person going? Are you listening to the words that are coming out of my mouth? Like, can you hear me, right? Talking to the California State Disability and not Veterans Affairs, but Unemployment Bureau is like trying to explain to your 13-year-old kid what they're not allowed to do. And then they just try to keep finding these things. Food to see you. I never see you on my new schedule. I'm going to try and start doing some later live feeds. And I think you meant good. How and when did you get an autoimmune? So I came back. I had done a deployment to Iraq as I did an individual augmentee, and then when I went to Expeditionary Combat, which is like the bottom tier of Spec War, I went back to Bahrain and Iraq and Kuwait. And I say Bahrain because that's where our C2E was, our command and control element. And I started having problems with some joints while I was there. I couldn't run. I was doing a lot of swimming, though. I swam all the time. I was swimming like 3-4 miles a day. And I came back and I started having all these problems. And then I lost vision in one eye for a period of time. And I went in and I was at marksmanship instructor school, advanced marksmanship instructor school when it happened. And I was like, I woke up and I couldn't see out of my right eye. It just looked like I was looking through like, you know how when you wake up and you get like crusty shit in your eye? It was like that, but no matter what I did, I couldn't get rid of it. And I looked at my eye and my entire, the colored part of your eye, the chamber of the eye on the face of it was green. And I'm like, oh my God, I've got something really wrong. And I went to the hospital and I thought I was gonna lose my eye. And it turns out that I had an autoimmune disorder. My immune system was attacking my eye. And so they put me on all this medicine and they put me on chemotherapy drugs. I lost all my hair, I lost my eyebrows, I lost all that shit. And so I was like, okay, here we go with this. And they were like, okay, you're going on limited duty. And then I got medically retired. And I got diagnosed with a autoimmune disorder that was attacking the soft tissue of my joints and my spine. And so I've wound up having several joint surgeries. I've had a couple knee surgeries. I've had like 4 shoulder surgeries. My immune system just attacks the cartilage and shit in joints. My bicep, I wound up having to have my bicep reattached because of it. But I'm on meds that get it under control. And so regardless of what I do, I take immunosuppressors. I have to. I take an immunosuppressor drug that drops my immune system. But the problem is there's no happy medium. There's not like, oh, I have my over-the-top immune system, and then now we can get it down to normal. There's two extremes. It's like your immune system's over-the-top and crazy, or you really don't have much of an immune system. And so even with the vaccine, I'm still susceptible to all those things. And so that they just basically, like, I haven't worked since April 2nd of 2020, if that tells you anything. Yeah, I was, and I was in the dirty sand. You know where I'm talking about, Casper. The dirty sand? You know where the dirty sand was. I've been there. I don't think it was from that last deployment. I think it was from previous deployments. I did 26 months total downrange. So if you know where the dirty sand was, you know what I'm talking about. So there was a lot of guys that were in the unit. It was a joint unit. So there was a lot of us that were there that wound up with, some guys got Crohn's disease. They have all sort of colitis, all autoimmune disorders. Did I have a reaction to it? No, but like, I'm 99% sure I already had it before I even got the vaccine. Joint unit, yeah, LOL, it was Blueberry Kush. That was the unit I was in. That was the joint unit I was in. Which, by the way, Blueberry Muffin OG is the best. The best. And I'll be paranoid. I just watch TV and go to sleep. As a matter of fact, there's a good chance that's what's going to be in my Airizer Solo 2 when we get done with this. That's so good. No, nobody takes care of us. No, VA doesn't. I get shit from the VA. I get crap for my retirement. I don't get anything for disability because state of California, oh, you've used up your disability benefits. It's only good for a year. And I'm like, that's great. But like doctors tell me I can't go back to work. And Social Security is like, well, this isn't a permanent issue. So we can't give you Social Security. So you don't get permanent disability. I'm like, guys, somebody has to come to some sort of resolution for this because like I can't live on my retirement and my YouTube and my wife's stuff. It just isn't gonna work. So, I mean, we sold the house just at the right time. So, I mean, I have a buffer and I made some intelligent investments when I was in the military. And so we get some of that, but I have a retirement plan that like basically like a 401k that has like $200,000 or so in it. But it's just, hey, my daughter has come out here. What's up, kiddo? I don't think so. You said you didn't want to. I thought it was gonna be tomorrow. Honey, I just started another live feed.
It's fine.
It's already 9 o'clock. Oh, no, I just finished like just a few minutes ago. Like I haven't been on this very long. It's only been like 10, 15 minutes I've been on here. We can do it tomorrow. We'll just start early tomorrow, okay? We'll watch Fear Street, the second one. we were gonna shift movie night, but we can do it early because you're not skating tomorrow. Just get your stuff done early, and we'll just start early, okay? Daddy-daughter movie night, and I didn't realize we were gonna try and do it tonight. Go to your state rep and come on. My state rep, come on now. Hang on a second. I will be right back. What's up, kiddo? I'm gonna close this door, okay? That way I'm not bothered. I just don't want to have to hear Mama's TV. Yeah, we'll get it. I'll get everything set up so that tomorrow afternoon earlier we can start and we'll watch Fear Street, the second one. Guys, if you guys have a teenage kid and you want to watch a horror movie with, like, my daughter loves horror movies, so not an issue for her to watch, like, something like we watched. What was it we watched the other day? Oh, we watched, try a projector. I got a 65-inch TV mounted on the wall in my shop, Aiden. Ding, ding, ding. Welcome to membership. That is 27. I had a big spike in membership at one point. I think I got to like 21. So it was, nah, it's too late in the evening. She's gonna go to bed soon. No, she has to go to bed soon. It's like her bedtime. So we'll do it tomorrow. But I have, like I said, I got a 65-inch TV mounted on the wall. We watch movies on here. A projector's never gonna be as cool as doing it on there. And we just turn the lights off. And I have the lounge yard chairs. You know what I'm talking about? The big long ones, like the chaise lounge style chairs. And we just lay them out here in the yard. And what are you thinking? Come on now. So we just lay them out here in the garage, and no, I didn't. She didn't realize I had. It's okay. I told her we'd do it tomorrow. Saturday's usually when we do it anyway. She's not skating tomorrow, so we can do it earlier in the day. We can watch 2 tomorrow. Yeah, see, tomorrow's Saturday. Good. We can do Saturday. Usually we do it on Saturday. It's just that she's not skating. Usually her day off from skating Sunday, but I think she's taking tomorrow off, which is why. So she could have stayed up a little bit later. But the fact is, Timber Ridge chairs, they're super, super comfortable. I wanted to take my hat off during the live feed with Jared because those headphones are uncomfortable. But I was like, if I take my hat off, somebody's going to complain. I was hoping Jared would ask me about the hat, and I wasn't going to throw in this big exposition about like the hat and why I wear the hat and how it worked and all that. The whole bar fight thing was fun. Mm-hmm. He's sitting back there in one of them. That is good pizza. That's just Costco pepperoni pizza. It's delicious. Can't go wrong with that. It's like $15 for a huge ass pizza. Who's that random guy? I can't imagine doing something like that. What are you talking about? Like, comment and tell me I was being a bitch and like I shouldn't, like, quit trying to guilt trip your subscribers into paying more. I'm like, yeah, I didn't ask you guys to pay anything. I was just making a statement about my current situation. Right? I mean, I was like, it was telling me, like, stand up, be a man. I was like, I wanted to say something. I want to be like, dude, you need to come out of my house and I'll show you what a fucking man is. And I will beat you. I'll kick your head into a fucking storm. But I can't say those things. You know, if I respond in kind, it just only gets worse. Because that's what they want. Those keyboard warriors, that's what they want you. They're trying to get a rise out of you. If you give them a rise, that's all they're going to do. They're going to keep going. Like the guy that was threatening. I mean, we did deal with the whole thing of the guy threatening my kids, and we had the actual stalker. And I'm not gonna lie to you. There's a fucking pew right next to me because my garage door is partway open. So, I mean, I take precautions. I keep track of what my daughter's doing. I drop my daughter off at school, and I watch her go all the way into the building. It's just little things, but like the fact is, like, I'm not afraid for my safety. I just worry about somebody doing something stupid to my family, and then you're going to see something from a movie. And you're gonna see it on the news and be like, oh my God, that's Mike. San Diego man in the news. San Diego man today killed like 8 people. I'm like, oh dear. I was checking news. Was it Mike? Was it Mike? Was it Mike? Yeah, it was Mike. So it's just, I don't know. It's like, I don't have that kind of time for stupid in my life. And I mean, it's just easier just to ignore it. So what I did was I've just set up what I've done is I've set up my filters. So if you guys happen to send something, so if you guys send something that is even mildly offensive, the filters should catch it. Now we had that guy that somehow snuck through and he just spammed. That's got to be a bot. He set something up and it snuck through. But like my filters catch things. Like you really shouldn't be able to put links. I think I have it set up so you can put links in, but there's just, I refuse to let someone else's stupidity ruin my life. Why should I get upset? It's like I said with Jared, like I've taken martial arts my whole life. I did combat skills. I did hand-to-hand combat. I've done weapons skills, weapons training, unarmed combat. I've done all the things that I know how to fight. I've taken 3 different forms of martial arts. I've got a black belt in 2 of them. And I'm like, all these guys are like, well, kick the shit out of me. You're like, well, maybe. And I just walk away because the fact is I don't have to prove that I can fight. I don't have anything to prove anymore. I know I can fight. I don't need to prove to them. I already know it. So why even engage? I just ignore it. But if you get me riled enough, you're gonna have a problem. That's where I'm afraid is I haven't, at what point do I stop letting things slide? You can only push so far before something becomes a reactive situation. And I'm hoping that just doesn't happen anytime soon. No, I didn't, but that's amazing because I know exactly what you mean. Oh God, did you eat all that acid? Yep. Music. Scene from my wife bought the entire. She's like, well, how many pieces you want? I was like 2. She brought a whole fucking pizza. And all I'm seeing is like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. You better hope to God you got some Thorazine in that bag. That's the biggest problem with most of these keyboard warrior trolls. They've never been around a period of life where you were talking to someone, where you actually, those things you had to say them in person. And there's repercussions for that. Like was it Bill Burr? Bill Burr said, I've never been hit in the face in a situation where I've been hit in the face where I didn't learn something. Where, you know what? I might have been out of line on that one. I think I took that one too far. He's absolutely right. And the problem with all this internet trolls and stuff is there's no repercussions for their actions. Like, I'm a 6'3", 240-pound angry Viking. I guarantee that half these guys that talk all this crap on the internet are basement-dwelling dudes that have only seen a vagina online. And in a situation, G-Ball, you take it easy with the in-laws. In a situation where they're going to be face-to-face, I mean, there is literally a guy that was talking crap. I'm not gonna mention his name because I'm not even gonna engage. And he's literally apologizing on a daily basis about something he said because he just found out that I'm gonna be at Blade Show West because he didn't know I was on the West Coast. So he was talking crap. And now he's like, wait, you're gonna be at Blade Show West? And I'm like, yeah, why? Are you gonna be there? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, now you're in a situation where I could physically be in close enough proximity to put my hands on you, and that's not a good situation to be in because I've seen pictures of this dude, and he's not very big. Be like Dorf Bowling. So I'm like, but I mean, I'm not even gonna engage. I don't need that in my life. I'm too pretty for prison. I'm not the prettiest dude, but I'm kick his ass, he bass. And so this dude is like, literally, he's like, oh my God. And I keep saying it in the live feeds because I don't want him to like cancel going live. I will definitely have a talk with this individual about the inappropriate and horrible things he said to me, and said about me, and said about my knives, and said about things, and said about my friends. But am I going to engage and physically accost this individual? No, I won't. So if you're watching, because you're one of those guys that downvotes everything I do, and I like to say, if you say you hate me, but you watch everything I do, bitch, you're still a fucking fan. I have no idea. I have no thoughts that this is going to be. No, it was not on YouTube. It was all via DM on Instagram. And then he found out, like, oh, wait, you're in California? You live in California? You're going to Blade Show West? I'm like, yeah. I'm going to put my triple XL size gloves on your shoulder when I walk up to you behind him. No, just comment. No, just DMs. It was all DM stuff. Like, but you didn't think you were ever going to... I'm a knife designer and a YouTube... I don't want to say YouTube celebrity because I don't like to think of that. I don't like to think I have fans. Like, the whole thought, like, oh, you've got so many fans on YouTube. I was like, I don't have fans. I got people that like hang out and talk to me in videos. It's not fans. That's just a group of dudes that I just happen to talk to online. Repel the monkey. No, I honestly have no idea what you're talking about. I honestly can't. It's just like I'm not picturing anything. Like, I'm trying to think, like, are we talking like the upside down rappel like you do out of the thing? Like, I never did much rappelling. I'd done fast rope and Hearstmaster, but. I'll have to ask my buddy Trevor about that one. Oh God, my back hurts. So much crunch it, pop it. It's old, just old bones. Getting old. 0 out of 10. Do not recommend. 0 out of 5 stars. All right, guys, you know, I'm gonna start talking. So my buddy Trevor actually is, he's teaching the climbing and knot tying and all that shit for the Marines, for rappelling and riggers and all that shit. So he's teaching that at Pendleton. So I'll have to ask him exactly what you're talking about, because I have no fucking idea. Fast rope is fun though. Absolutely, Ken. As a matter of fact, I'm doing a summer service sale where I am doing, Jesus Christ. Get your head together, Mike. That's a bright fucking flashlight. I'm doing a summer sale, all knives to any grit, $25. Unless, like, if you're wanting to test out, like, my super high grit, like 10,000, 12,000. I'm not doing 12,000. 10,000 grit. If you want to go all the way to 10,000 grit, but you don't want to pay that additional, like, $10, my wife doesn't care. We've been married for 19 years. It doesn't fucking matter. She doesn't care if I have the beard or don't have the beard. She just doesn't want to see me. It's one of the benefits of being, like, married for 19 years. I was gonna say, as long as it's not like an unusual blade shape, I'm taking all knives all the way to 10,000 grit for $25, as opposed to $35, which would be typical, except for knives like this. Recurves, recurve tontos, special blade shapes. These, because these have a distinct difficulty with the weirdness of that forward grind and everything, these are still full price. These are still $40, $45. But, like, if you just got a regular knife and you want to test out like a 10,000 grit edge, but you don't want to pay $35 for it if you don't like it, I'm doing it for $25. Summer sale. That's just going to keep running until I decide I'm tired of it. Last time I did it, I think I did it till like December. I'm like, summer sale. I'm like, it's December. I'm like, it's San Diego. It's still summer. It's like 78 degrees on Christmas. You know? It was like 48 degrees Christmas Eve, but it got up into the 70s on Christmas. Why do 10,000 grit? Why would I use that for general purpose? Well, no, most people aren't, but some people have, like, not all of my customers are like you and I, Jake, that use their knives for specific things. I have guys that send me really expensive knives that they want to put in a case and they just want that super high. I'm not gonna lie, this is a 10,000 grit edge. That's a 10,000 grit edge, and I got news for you. This thing will cut anything I want to cut with it. It depends on the steel. There's some steels you can get away with. This L-Max will take an edge that does everything I want to do, even at 10,000 grit. This is still toothy. It just depends on the steel. Fuck Rob. I can be opinionated. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I can be an opinionated prick, but for an opinionated prick to look at somebody and go, that's an opinionated prick, that means that they're really an opinionated prick. How many times can I say opinionated prick? Rob, I've talked to Rob. He's an okay guy, but he is definitely set in his opinions, which is opinionated. I haven't seen him. I don't even know if he puts anything up. Now, I do know that, okay, so Rob's really religious. He's really big into his church, all those things. He's just not a real personable kind of guy. You know what I mean? So, and I mean, he just thinks that the edge pro is the only way to go with anything. And I'm like, I don't agree. I think freehand convex is the way to go. And he has political stuff up now on YouTube. It doesn't surprise me. I mean, here's the thing. I probably would agree with most of what he says. I agree with a lot of the things that a lot of the centrist, the middle. I'm like a lot of people look at me and go, oh, that guy's got to be far right wing. I'm really not. I'm actually fairly libertarian, left leaning on certain things. Like, chick wants to have an abortion, by all means, have an abortion. However, I do believe that if a man decides that he doesn't want to have anything to do with that child, he shouldn't be penalized. If a woman can terminate a pregnancy because she doesn't feel ready, then that man, if she decides to have the baby, has every fucking right to leave. Why should he be penalized? He's not ready. She could have easily terminated the pregnancy. I think that if you're going to have it, you got to have it both ways. He didn't want to be part of that baby's life. You shouldn't penalize him and make him pay. You wanted to have the kid. You knew he didn't. You accepted that responsibility, not him. So, that's how I kind of think. I'm in that area where, I don't give a fuck what you do. Just don't fuck with me about it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to fucking hear this shit anymore. That's why I don't watch sports. I don't watch sports anymore. It's not because I'm being political. I'm not boycotting it because I don't agree with their right to have those opinions. I just don't want to fucking see it during sports. If I'm watching sports, it's because there's so many other things I could be watching that's political. I don't want to watch it while I'm watching sports. I don't want to watch football and be subjected to your political opinions. It has nothing to do with whether I agree that they're right or wrong. It's their opinion. I just don't want to fucking see it, so I don't watch it. That's it. You want to do it, that's fine. Just accept that I'm probably not going to watch it. Oh, repulse the monkey's Tai Chi. Oh, you're talking about that bullshit. I'm going to do a Tai Chi knockout. Watch this. And I'm going to smack him on the back of the neck and wake him up. No, you're not, faggot. I mean, if you want to support that shit, that's fine. I just don't want to see it. I don't care. I was talking about now. There you go, repulse the monkey balls. I think monkey balls are repulsing to begin with. You guys want to watch? No, never mind. My daughter would be pissed. You watched the movie with those guys, but you didn't watch it with me. I'm like, yeah, I can't get away with that one. I was gonna say we watched Blue Monkey, which is a fucking hilarious B-rate movie. I was like, ooh, we could watch. No, never mind. We'll just sit here and drink. Sitting here and drinking sounds like a better idea. 20 people, 30 likes. That's weird. Did you guys like shit twice? I just realized how crazy my eyes look tonight. I have allergies. That's why I was like, oh my God, I look like I'm insane. Okay, I look like I'm insane. Okay, I'm insane, but now I really look like it. Have you guys ever watched the next video I do? The next video I do, I believe I'm going to do it. Totally Pointless TV. Hilarious. He calls out all these fake martial artists. He does all kinds of other stuff, but most of it's fake martial artists. And Thunderfoot. Thunderfoot likes to call out. You need to have a small pull from your bourbon jug. No. Bourbon is disgusting. I'm sorry if you like bourbon. If you like bourbon, I'm sorry. Not for what I said, just I'm sorry you like bourbon. That's disgusting. Like you should, if you like bourbon, you should definitely reevaluate your life choices. It's disgusting. I like bourbon. Get out. It's like, you don't like bourbon? No. It's like, my friend, oh, I made you some oatmeal raisin cookies. I heard they're your favorite. I was like, yeah, I put walnuts in them. Fucking keep it. Keep them. I don't fucking want them now. I didn't say I liked oatmeal walnut raisin cookies, like oatmeal raisin cookies. Like, why the fuck would you put walnuts? That's not an oatmeal raisin cookie. Like an oatmeal raisin cookie. The two primary ingredients, oatmeal and raisin. I didn't see walnut in the billing. Like when you go watch a show, you expect to see people in the show. You're like, you fucking, right? You fucking, the fucking, who were the comedian fucking magicians? I can't think of their name. Penn and Teller. Like you see Penn and Teller, you know, it's like Penn and Teller and Dave. Like who the fuck is Dave? Why? Like who's this Dave dude? Why is he on a stage? Fuck Dave. I came to see Penn and Teller. Oatmeal raisin cookie. Like I don't expect somebody to show up like eating it. Like what the fuck is that? It's a walnut. Why is it a walnut? Why the fuck would you put walnuts in an oatmeal raisin cookie? Make walnut cookies. I have no idea who Dave is. Yeah. You're disgusting, Josh. I don't know. I think I should revoke your membership. Yeah. Bourbon. Would you like a glass of whiskey? Sure. I've got bourbon. Then you don't have whiskey. You have bourbon. And you can fucking keep it. I'll drink a White Claw. I honestly said that at a guy's house one time. I was like, you want a glass of whiskey? I'm like, yeah, sure. What do you got? He's got bourbon. I'm like, then you don't have whiskey. Why'd you offer me whiskey if you don't have bourbon? Like, that's asking me if I want a ham sandwich. Well, I don't have any ham. I got chicken. What the fuck? Why'd you ask? Fucking ask me if I want shit you don't have. You got White Claw? I'll take one of those. I'd much rather have a White Claw than a fucking bourbon. And I'd rather drink White Claw, and the next thing you know, I'm wearing your wife's panties. Oh, these are so comfortable. What happened? He drank a White Claw. Why didn't he drink the bourbon? He said it was disgusting. I ever tell you the time? You guys want a story? I almost told the story on Jared's channel, but I didn't know how I was going to feel about it. I ever tell you the story about the time I screwed an officer's wife and almost got caught? I like scotch too. I like scotch. I like Jameson's. I like Irish whiskey. I like scotch. I like American rye whiskey. Bourbon, you can shove that shit right up your fucking ass. I don't fucking like it. So anyway, oh yes, okay. Snow's answered. He pays money for these stories. So if you don't want to hear it, then don't. So I was at the NCO club, and I had not been off the ship in quite a while. Like I had not seen a woman in probably 6 weeks. I was horny, and I knew that this chick, like we're on base, so I know this chick is someone's wife, but you know, 20-year-old Mike didn't fucking care. Like you should have taken better care of your wife so she wasn't out trying to fuck me. And so I told my buddies, I'm like, I'm leaving with this chick. And she was hot. And then we start walking. So this is Kadena Air Force Base. So I know like, she's an Air Force wife. She's smoking hot. And I'm walking with her. And we walk over into an area that I know is officer housing. And I'm like, all right. And she's like, my husband's gone. I'm like, yeah, all right. And I get there and we get in her house and like, just trying to knock the headboard through the wall. Like the pictures on the wall are all crooked. I'm shaking house. There's probably plaster falling out of the ceiling on the fucking first floor. And I go to sleep after because her husband's gone, right? And that was the night that I learned that Navy gone, Air Force gone, were totally different. Aiden. So, where's my thing? Ah, hell, this will work. And so I'm laying there, and I'm laying there, and she wakes up because there's like, I hear gravel, and there's like lights on the wall. And she's getting up and I was making a mouth. I was like, what are you doing? She's like, my husband's home. And I was like, I thought you said he was gone. She's like, yeah, but he's back. And I'm like, Navy gone. Like, when a Navy guy is gone, he's gone for weeks. Like, he's in the middle of the fucking Indian Ocean. Like, he can't make a phone call. He can't send a letter. He can't just get in a car and drive home. Air Force is different. Those motherfuckers can do that shit. And so, like, apparently, he decided he was coming home to get something to eat. And I'm like, oh, shit. And so she's throwing clothes at me. I jump out the second story window, butt naked, with my clothes in my hand, and I jump. Thank God that it rains so much in Okinawa, because the ground was soft. I thought I broke my fucking feet. Jumping out a second story window, barefoot. She's throwing clothes out the window. He's yelling and screaming because he knows somebody's been there. And she's throwing stuff out. I grab my clothes. I run bare ass naked up around the corner, and I'm in the bushes, and a bunch of the guys from the ship. It's like 1 o'clock in the fucking morning. NCO club just closed. And I'm in the bushes, and I'm like, guys, wait on me. Wait on me. And they're like, Emler, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm putting on my clothes like, ooh, somebody was fucking in housing and almost got caught. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. He's right there. He's out. He's got a flashlight. He's like out in his yard. And I'm getting dressed, and I jump in the crowd because I didn't want to be the one guy leaving that area, because, I mean, he's gonna fucking figure it out, right? I was like, guys, just wait a second, smoke a cigarette or something. Like, and I'm like, they're like, what the fuck did you do? And I was like, was that the chick? I was like, yes, shut the fuck up and let me get dressed. I get dressed, and I've got my shoes on. I'm like, kind of limping because my feet hurt. Oh my God, I've only ever one time jumped out of a second story window because I was fucking somebody else's wife. I'm not saying I've never fucked anyone else's wife. I'm just saying that's the only time I've ever jumped out a second story window because of it. There you go. There's a story. Aiden paid me for a campfire story, so I figured I may as well finish it up right. That was the worst night. Those guys were... Hopefully it was a mag light, not an O light. He'd have seen me. O lights are incredibly bright. I screwed a friend's wife by accident. You ready for that? You want to hear that story? You want to hear how I screwed a friend's wife by accident and didn't know it. So there was a guy. There's a guy that I went to school with. He was 2 classes ahead of me. And so he had gotten out. No, it's not hot. It's like, bro, it's like 64 degrees out here right now. So this guy was 2 classes ahead of me, which means he graduated like 2 or 3 months ahead of me. And when he picked orders, I picked orders. We all picked orders at the same time, pretty much. He was ahead of me in class, but we all picked orders at the same time. So he was like, yeah, hey, we're going to the same duty station. When you get there, we're going to different ships. But when you get there, like, we hook up, we can hang out, we be friends. We've done all this stuff. Quick perimeter check. Never know who's listening. What do you mean? Ain't nobody listening out here. Fucking my wife, the door's closed. It's dark out here. The only light is my ring light. And all the other lights in the garage are off. Just that. So, at any rate, so when I get there, he was supposed to, I forget what ship, he was on a Bellawood or the San Bernardino. I don't remember which. He was on one of the other ships. I was on a Dubuque, and he was either on a Bellawood or San Bernardino, but they were underway. And so I had been on the ship maybe a month. We'd gone out and did some workup stuff. We came back, and at the time, I was like 18, but you could drink on base. So I was on the base club, and this chick, I got shithouse. And this chick comes up, and she's hitting on me, and I was talking to her, and I'm like, okay. Now, I got to point out, this guy had went to college, and he was significantly older than me. I carry a SIG SP 2022. And so this guy was a good bit older than me. He was like maybe 10 years older than me. 28, 29. He was already married. They didn't have a kid yet, but they had been trying to have a kid. So anyway, he's older than me. But we got along really well. And so this chick is hitting on me in a club, and I was drunk, and I got in her car, and I rode to her place. And it was in housing, so I knew it was somebody's wife. I got no shame. I ain't gonna lie. And so I get in her car, and we drive to her place in housing, and I go through the gate, and I stumble up the steps. We get off the elevator, we go to her house, and I remember I walked in, and as I walked in, there's this, like, back home we call it a buffet. It's like a big, like a dresser with a mirror on it, but it's not. It's more like, it's like a kitchen counter thing. It just has a big mirror on the back, but it's not like a dresser. It's meant more for like silverware and stuff, but it has a big mirror on it with a big countertop. They're big. And but it had this big mirror, and in the corner of the mirror was a picture of this sailboat. And you know, it was beautiful. And I went in and I screwed this chick all night, and I got up the next morning, I got on the bus, and I went back to base, and I went to the ship, and I took a shower, and slept all day that day. It's like a Saturday morning. And so a couple months later, we get back, and we got on our way, and I pull back in, and his ship was there, and I ran into him, and he was like, Mike, bro, you haven't met my wife yet. You got to come over, because he didn't have his wife when we were in Chicago at the time for school. And he's like, you haven't got to meet the wife yet. He's like, we got the place. He's like, you got to come over. He gave me his apartment number and everything at the housing. And he was in a tower with this apartment, like a one-bedroom apartment thing that they lived in. And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll go out there. So Saturday rolls around. I was supposed to meet up with him. And get off the bus, and I'm in housing, and I'm walking up, and I get off the elevator, and I was like, wow, this feels real familiar. And I was like, well, you know, I was here with some other chick. I don't even know if it's the right tower. And I knock on the door. And he comes to the door, and he opens the door, and there's this big buffet, this big mirror. And in the corner of it is this picture of a sailboat. And I'm like, oh, and I'm taking off my shoes, and I'm like, oh no. And she comes around the corner, and I immediately recognize her, and she sees me, and I see her, and I'm like, oh. And she's just standing there with like a bottle of wine and a corkscrew, and she's like, and he's looking at me, and he's laughing. He's like, yeah. And I was like, bro, I gotta go. Like, I just remembered, like, there was something that I promised my chief that I would do. And if I don't get it done today, like, he has duty tomorrow. He's coming into the ship. If I don't have it done today, he's going to fucking murder me. It's going to take me all day. I apologize. I know that we said we were, and I fucking caught the bus before it even left. I was like, let me on the goddamn bus. He's like, no, my wife can give you a ride. I was like, no, it's okay. I'll take the fucking bus. And so I'm like, so I get on the bus, I come back. He saw me a few times. He's like, bro, you got to come back over. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I got to do that. I never went back to his place again. Because, I mean, what am I going to tell him? Like, hey, guess what? One night, you're gone, I was in your bedroom, and I treated your wife like she was an animal at a rodeo. How's it going? Can I have another piece of pizza? Yeah, I'll have more wine. I mean, what am I gonna do? Like, at that point, there's nothing else. Like, I just can't talk to this guy because I can't lie to him. I'm like, you know, your wife, I think she sleeps around. Well, what makes you think that? I was like, the fact that she fucking had me balls deep in her throat, dude. It was an accident. I slipped and I stuck my dick in your wife's ass. I mean, what do you want? This live feed is definitely not getting monetized. That was the worst. Like, everybody's like, Mike's such a good guy. No, he is not. Mike is now. Mike met his wife and became domesticated, but no, he isn't. No, he isn't. Mike's not a good guy. Mike's a horrible guy. Mike was that guy that if you walked away long enough, if you left your girlfriend at the table unattended, Mike was going to try and fuck your girlfriend. He was. And then I met my wife, and I realized I was a dickhead. And I'm like, Jesus, I'm a pretty fucking horrible person. Oh, bro, like from 17, okay, so I was like 20, I think I was 25 or 26 when I met my wife, and I was like 26 or 27 when we got married. Up until I met my wife. Okay, you want a case in point? I had a girlfriend when I met my wife. And I had them both on the hook for a while. As a matter of fact, I had a girlfriend and I met my wife, but I was also screwing like 3 other girls. Like, we used to joke, like, juggling girlfriends. Like, dropped one. Yeah, get another one. Just keep juggling. Put you in rehab for weed? Like, they put you in rehab with, like, actual fucking scumbags. Why? Why shouldn't I be telling this? But she knows. She'd be the one coming in here. Yeah. Yeah. He definitely did. She'd be the first one to tell you. But I can tell you that, like, okay. So being religious, as I am, I have certain little hang-ups, some weirdness. Like, I stood up in a church and swore to God, and my dad told me this. This is my dad told me. He was like, look, okay, I had met a girl and I brought her home, and he was like, you ready to look across the table with that girl for the rest of your life? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe. And he goes, and I said this, I wrote this in his eulogy because I couldn't go home for his funeral. And he looked at me and he goes, boy, I'm going to tell you what. He says, getting married is a lifetime commitment. He goes, because you're going to go in a church. And this is my father. This is coming from my father. And I took this to heart, and I still mean it. This is why I'm married to my wife, and I have been for 19 years. He said, I stood up in a church, and I swore to God that I would love your mother for the rest of my life. He says, I meant it now. I meant it then, and I mean it now. And he goes, and it doesn't matter who else was there to hear me say it. God heard me say it. And I was like, he's like, and if you're not ready to do that, then you're not ready to get married. And I was like, oh, that's a big thing. And so when he told me that, and I looked at the girl I was dating at the time, and I wasn't ready, and I would never have been ready with her. And I met my wife, and yeah, we had our ups and downs, and I was doing shady shit. But then I realized that, like, even when I was with someone else, I was thinking about my wife, and that's when I realized, like, it's game over. And so I asked her to marry me, and I never looked back. And I stood up in a church, and I swore to God and everyone there that I would love my wife for the rest of my life. And I meant it then, and I fucking mean it now. So that goes full circle. So regardless of what I did before, ever heard of the path to redemption? I don't care what you've done in your past, there's always a path to redemption. I found mine through my wife. Had I not met my wife, I'd have been a drunk, lecherous, horrible person for the rest of my life. Some scales underneath my boxers and a dresser. I mean, hell, fuck. I mean, I got a scale and probably that much, and I'm probably more than that. Who cares? But we can't talk about that here. We can't talk about the jazz cabbage. YouTube don't like it. YouTube demonetizes that stuff. No, I just thought I'd share that with y'all after all the other stuff. That didn't help, did it? I just figured since you hear all the crap that I did, you may as well hear the path to redemption that my father put me on. And then I met my wife. God, I got heartburn so bad, guys. I could have something to do with the pizza and the whiskey, and I should just go get a beer. Is that a kid or a cat? What's my favorite whiskey? Not bourbon. That's about it. That's where we're at with that. Not bourbon. So pretty much that leaves all the other possibilities out there. I love rye whiskey. I'm not gonna tell you, I love bullet rye. The only bourbon that I can drink, yes, they can monitor the chat, and they absolutely do. Aiden, when did Aiden send over more cash? I rang the bell. Did he send more after? I did. I rang that. I rang it with my knife because I couldn't. Remember, I couldn't find the. Oh, there it is. I already did. What's my favorite whiskey is not bourbon. Like, my favorite beer is cold. Actually, I have to be honest about that. I've said that my favorite brand of beer is cold, or is free. My second favorite is cold. That's a lie. I have a favorite. I honestly have a favorite beer, and it's not a craft beer. A lot of people, I bet you like that. I don't like craft beer. Like, I like some ales, some IPAs. a little bit, you know, like hops is bitter, and I'm like, you know what I like is beer that, well, it doesn't taste like shit. So that's why I drink Miller Lite, because I like stuff that tastes good. So a lot of the craft beers just aren't for me. I do like the Cali Cream and Cream Ale. That's delicious. I like the, what is it? The Beaver Brewery Peanut Butter Ale or Milk Stout. I like a couple milk stouts, but generally I don't like the craft beers. They give me heartburn. They give me a really bad headache. The hoppiness is just too much. So, you know, now when it comes to my favorite whiskey, if I had a favorite whiskey, Belching Beaver Peanut Butter Stout. It is amazing. That is, it's probably the best beer. Like, I'd say that is probably my favorite craft beer. But I like Victoria. Just Victoria regular Mexican beer. The Victoria Modelo beer. It's not Modelo, but that's what that's listed on it. It's delicious. That is like my favorite beer. And no, I've tried it. And guess what? No, Jeremy, no. No. Yes, Pacifico's good, but it has kind of that skunky. So, like Pacifico kind of has that skunky, weird, fishy aftertaste that I don't get with Victoria. I do like the Corona Especial. That is really, really good. That reminds me of I had a Corona in. No, I don't like the double APAs. I don't like the double box. No, yuck. I tried them and I liked them a little bit for a while, but then like I was drinking all these heavy IPs and I was like, I don't like this anymore. I just don't like it anymore. It's just like I went through a stage where like, oh, they're okay. Good. Kirin Ichiban, that's pretty good. The Corona Especials, the new ones, the brown label ones, great. The Dos Equis Amber is really good. I'm not a fan of the Michelob Ultras. They just don't have any flavor. But now if we're going to talk about whiskey, I like Jameson's Black Barrel. Jameson's Black Barrel, and then the Stout Edition, which is the one that has the beer. I don't like the coffee one, but regular Jameson's is still a solid offering at $19 a bottle. Can't go wrong with that. But my favorite whiskey of all time, and I can't afford to have it, is a Scotch whiskey. It's a Speyside Glenlivet that is called Tom and Towel, and it's their 18-year double barrel. So what it is an 18-year-old Scotch that then gets another 18 months in a sherry cask, and it's like $450 a bottle. And I've had it once, and it's one of those whiskeys that you get out and you have one glass of it, and it gives you goosebumps, and then you put it away, and then you switch to something else. Is it Familiar? That's what it is. Corona Familiar, not Especial. I don't like some of the Islay scotches. Like, I like them sometimes, like the really heavy, smoky, peaty ones. They're okay. But the Familiar, that's what it's not Especial. The Familiar, those are really, really good. I like those. I like the Victoria. I've gotten to where I just like the lighter blonde ales, like the pale ales. I like some lagers, but typically I'm just gonna go with like a Mexican, just a light Mexican blonde, like pale ale. Yes, I have had green chartreuse, but like when it comes to whiskeys, I'm not real picky. Crown Royal, that's a good solid whiskey. I just can't drink the Crown Royal maple. Something about the maple flavoring, like if I have a glass of it, it's delicious. I like the Crown Royal maple, but if I have a glass of it, I have a migraine, like within the hour. Like I have one glass of it, I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm dying. So I do like a Czech Pilsner, and that is another thing I was gonna say. I like the Czech Pilsners because they taste like Blatz. If any of you are old enough to remember Blatz was a Czech Pilsner. Now, I grew up in Southeast Ohio. We have a lot of Czech and Polish people there because it was a mining town, and all these people moved out on the railroad, and they just stopped there, and they stayed. And so it's like a coal mining area, and so you have a lot of Czechs and Poles. And so a Czech Pilsner was really popular, so a lot of people drank the Blatz. And I do like a good, like, Czech Pilsner or Poles. They're delicious. There's a place called Society Brewing. And if you go there, they're super ostentatious and fucking, I hate them. They're obnoxious, and I just hate the people there. But they do make a good beer. And it's up in Claremont Mesa area, right off of Claremont Mesa Boulevard, just past where Elliot's shop was. It's called Society Brewing. It's really good. They make really good beer, but you just want to hang out and talk to those people because you'll talk to them for like 5 minutes. You're like, yeah, I want to punch you in the fucking mouth. You know what I'm talking about? Like, the people there are horrible, so I'll just get a growler. I'll just go and I'll pick out what I want and get a growler and I'll fucking leave because they're just obnoxious and better than thou. And like, we make craft beer. He's like, oh, you drink that? That's disgusting. I'm like, yeah? How about I knock your teeth out of your fucking head? And so ooh. I don't like them. I don't like them. I don't like those people. And I'm thinking about I'm going to move over here into a more comfortable chair, which means I'm going to turn the lights on so you guys can see. Yeah, they're condescending fucking pricks. Oh, Shopcat left. Shopcat was sitting. So Shopcat gets his own chair when he's here. My chair has a watermelon in it. Don't forget, guys, I am giving away that flashlight. I wish I was hanging with Shopcat. I don't know where he went. Oh, God. There's a watermelon in my chair. Oh, that's better. Oh, this is such a comfortable fucking chair. What was that? What were you saying? Somebody said something. Has anyone seen New Belgium? I have not. I did not even know that was a brand. I live in my garage, guys. I'm like, oh, so you guys were talking about like, oh, you should get a projector. Why? I have that on the wall. Wow, my something is on my, I don't know how that got so fucking dirty. Hang on. Something is all over that lens. I'm gonna hang that. I gotta turn that light off. Just find the button. Who's got the button? There we go. What was that? Casper, I'd like to hear the story about your lighter. My lighter? Which one? This one? Not much of a story. It was a gift from a girl I was dating at one time. I smoked I smoked at the time because I couldn't always dip Copenhagen. I don't know why that's so dirty and nasty. I always had a lighter because I would smoke sometimes because you can't like dipping in a bar. It's disgusting and people don't want to see it. So I would smoke. You'd smoke in a bar, but like people are like, please don't dip. Like Japanese people don't like the idea of spitting and using a bottle, and the bar ladies would get all upset. So when I would go drinking, I'd smoke. I had a chick that just gave that to me as a gift. This one is a 50th anniversary of the ordnance facility I worked at. So I just have them there because they're two of my favorite looking lighters. They just sit there. I have a ton of them, but that's just it's just a Carpe Diem Zippo. These, no, I haven't smoked in, Jesus Christ, I haven't smoked a cigarette in probably, I quit smoking like 18 years ago. I think my last cigarette that I actually had was, I went out drinking one night and I had like 2 cigarettes. So it would have been like maybe 15 or 16 years ago I smoked a cigarette. So I haven't had a cigarette in forever. Those lighters have been sitting in boxes and shit for fucking years. I don't smoke. Well, I don't smoke cigarettes. Because I'm definitely in reach of something that I would smoke. I'm drinking whiskey and talking to y'all. I am going to have to go micturate, which is the scientific term for urination. You defecate and you micturate, but people also say urinate, which is not the actual term for it. But I got to go pee. So if you guys want to hang out for a minute, I'm going to plug you guys back in over here. You guys can let anybody know that joins, just say it's an intermission. Talk amongst yourselves. Did I drink a lot when I was younger? I'll tell you a story about that in a minute. I'll be right back, guys. Just have fun and enjoy. I'll be right back. I'm coming back, guys. I'm coming back. All right, I'm back. I have returned. Sorry about the intermission. So, did I drink a lot when I was younger? I don't know if you've been on a feed where I've talked about the medical condition that I have. It happens a lot with Irish people. It goes along with being allergic to the numbing agent and having a seriously insane high pain tolerance. They all go hand in hand. I forget what the condition's called, but what happens is when you have these people that have the weird, stupid high pain tolerance, like I've had dental work done, that's like the thing. Like I'm allergic to Novocaine, but I have this crazy high pain tolerance. It's like God's like, okay, you're allergic, but we'll make it, we'll even it out by giving you this high pain tolerance. Well, there's another little effect that goes with that. Josh, you're in Australia. I love Melbourne. Melbourne was beautiful. So at any rate, so I actually have a metabolic condition where I metabolize alcohol way faster than most people. I've drank a half a bottle of whiskey since we started this live feed. Like I had a glass when we were doing Jared's. Like I'm out of Jameson's. Like I actually have a beer now because I'm switched to beer. I have a metabolic condition where I metabolize alcohol. My doctor said he figures about twice as fast as the average person. So I actually can drink 8 beers and still blow under 0.08. Like I can have 8, 9 beers and still be legal to drive. So when I was in the Navy, guys were like, don't go out drinking with Mike. It's insane. I don't know what it's called. It's just some metabolic thing. At any rate, so I would go out and guys, Chad, my cousin Chad was on the ship with me, and people like, is this really true? Can Mike drink that much? And he's like, guys, here's the deal. On any given day of the week, Mike will go and get a bottle of rum, and he will go to the bar with a bottle of rum and a 2-liter bottle of Coke, and he'll drink the entire bottle of rum and then go back. He's like, but on a night that he's really feeling like going out and doing it hard, I've seen Mike take 2 bottles of rum and go to the bar and drink rum and Coke till he's out of rum and then just drink rum and rum. He's like, I've watched that dude drink 2 bottles of rum and walk back to the apartment and get up and go to work the next day. And they're like, no. He's like, fucking yes, I have. I have a Russian friend. He's a professional boxer. His name's Dennis. It's Denny Graychev. And I went to his house on a Christmas party, and I took a brand new bottle of Jameson's, and we sat down, and he was pouring my drinks, and I was pouring his. So he's drinking, I forget what he wasn't drinking vodka. He was drinking some other kind of whiskey. And so he'd pour me a drink, and I'd pour him one. End of the night, he's looking at me, and he's got the cap off my bottle, and he pours the last of it in, and he goes, so you drank all? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, you're not drunk, huh? I was like, nah, not really. And he goes, I'm a very, very drunk. You're not Russian? I was like, no, I'm Irish. And he goes, so much. You drink so much. I came home and drank a 6-pack of beer and did a live feed that night. It was like his Christmas party the week before Christmas. And he's like, I can't do it like that. You're not Russian. Oh God, what is that? What kind of bug is that? Fuck. It's a big ass spider. Hey, big ass spider, come here. I watched the Samoan dude. You ready for this? Why is my beard so much fuller on this side than it is on this side? I don't understand that. I had a Samoan friend, Paulo. He was cousins with a guy that I'll tell you a story about later named Akuso Paulo, but I can't remember his cousin's name, but his cousin worked on base. And so Paulo, the bigger one, which is the one we're talking about right now, we were out one night drinking. I did kill it. I killed it with my sandal. I slapped it hard enough it exploded. And so we were out one night, and I was talking to this dude, and we're hanging outside out kind of place called Pub Lucy, where they had a little sandwich restaurant called Ace Burger, made the best hamburgers and corn dogs in town. This is in Japan. And so we're out, and we see this guy like pushing his girlfriend around. And Paulo goes over and he goes, "Hey man, leave her be." And he goes, "It's none of your fucking business." And before he could get "it's none of your fucking business" out, Paulo took off one of his Adidas slides, just like this one. Took it off so fast, hit this dude in the face with a rubber sandal so hard that he knocked him unconscious, and walked away and just left him in the street and helped this girl get into a taxi and leave. And I was like, God damn. I watched this dude bench 405 as warm-up. Warm-up weight was 405. I was like, oh my God. So keeping in mind, I'm 6'3". At the time, I probably weighed 200, 210 pounds. No, he was not fat. This dude was a monster. And he was just one of the coolest, nicest dudes you'd ever want to meet. Until you got him riled, and this dude got him riled, and he hated seeing a dude put hands on a woman. And I was like, I slapped a dude open-handed one time and knocked him unconscious because like I said, I wear triple XL gloves. Was he taller than me? Yeah, he was like 6'4", 6'5". He was a monster. He had to weigh 260 if he weighed an ounce. And like I said, his warm-up weight when he would lift weights was 405. Like he was warming up with 405, and I'm like, my God, what a fucking monster. I gotta put a koozie on that. I gotta put a koozie on that, or YouTube's gonna demonetize me, because yes, they do monitor. Put an Irwindale Raceway. We have these Irwindale Racetrack koozies because my dog, oh my God. Holy crap. I don't have a bell big enough for that. Dude, like seriously, you can't, like, holy shit. You can't give me that much, bro. Like seriously, well, I appreciate, but like that's, can I ding it? Shit. Well, I feel like I owe some other stories. Holy shit. I've only ever seen that in other people's live feeds. Like I've seen that, like, and I don't mean like Jared's. I mean like Tim Pool, Timcast, and things like that, where people are donating like $100, $200. Bro, I would have much rather you kept that $100 and just got a $10 a month subscription and got early access to videos. But hey, that's amazing. Ding, 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 ding. I don't have a big enough fucking bell. God damn, I don't even know what to say now. That's unheard of. I'm fucking speechless. That's fuck. Oh, Nathan, welcome to being a premium member. Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, is there a... Go pop, 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 Mike. I just don't know what to say. Ivan. Jesus. I mean, is there... Okay, I'll tell you what. If I can figure it out, I will try to reimburse... I'll try and send you back the $100 you sent me if I can figure out how to return a super chat. I would much rather you just had the $14 a month and you get early access to videos and stuff like that. I know that it's you're saying it's all good, but like Jesus Christ, fuck, that's fucking goddamn. I'm just sitting here thinking, like, when I was a kid, and I used to watch TV shows. If there was a way that you could donate money, you remember when you could call in and you had to call in and it was like the dollar per call and you got to vote like the A team. I remember first time I heard like vote like the whatever the decision was going to be, like how that season ending was going to be, and like you had to give, and I was like, God, I wish I had enough money to do that. And my friends were like, yeah, I called like 12 times, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I can't do a cartwheel, Jeremy. If I can. Then you guys be like, tomorrow you guys be all like, Instagram is like, did you guys see Mike did a cartwheel and wound up in the emergency room? Like, cause his fucking shoulder went out and like ripped the anchors that were holding his shoulder together. And like, they had to do reconstructive surgery that night. Yeah, that's what happened. I know cartwheels. I know how old I am. Okay, see how much gray's in my beard? I'm still trying to figure out why my beard is so much fuller on one side than the other. God damn. So that means that it's like 27 members now. It's the most members I've ever had, which is 27 more members than Jared has, because Jared doesn't have memberships. Yeah, I haven't. I probably should, just so I can get stitches, because Patricia, the lady at the emergency room, hasn't seen me in a while. Okay. So I had a friend named Red Hayes, and Red used to always joke. We always play, Red and I would play pool together. So the first thing we do is, if we were on a base, we'd go to the base club and we'd have a few beers at the base and play pool. And Red's fucking thing that he always used to say was, you're not having fun until you shit your pants. And so and it was always just a joke, right? And so we're at the base club in Yokosuka, Japan. And he and I are playing pool at the AC Doocy. Was it the AC Doocy? No, it was just the general fucking airman's club, or the general base club. We weren't at the AC Doocy. AC Doocy means like E5, E6, AC Doocy, because E5 is a second class, E6 is a first class, AC Doocy. So at any rate, we're playing pool, and we're talking, and all of a sudden he looks at me and he goes, and I was like, you okay? He goes, well, I guess I'm having fun. I was like, did you just shit your pants? And he goes, yep. I'll be back. And he ran back to the ship and changed his clothes. Do I still shoot good pool? I quit playing pool after I got a pool stick broke across my face. It took the enjoyment of the game. I stopped playing pool because people take it too serious and they're dickheads. I was okay at playing pool. I always played pool for fun. That's why I always played with Red. We never played for money. We never kept. It wasn't anything serious. We just played for fun and have a couple beers. I am okay. Like, I mean, could I make money at pool? Yeah, I mean, but I never used to bet. But we had this dude that looked. We had this dude that looked like what's his name that played Ivan Drago? God damn it, I can't think of his fucking name. Fuck. Oh, by the way, the other day when are you still in here, Casper? We were talking about seals. So the guy that I was really good friends with, and I was drunk enough, I blanked the name. I was friends with Chris Kyle, and that really was a hard one. I knew Chris through a mutual friend that was their armorer that built all that stuff up. Dolph Lundgren. So anyway, this guy looked like Dolph Lundgren. I do that. I'm old enough that, and I've had enough head traumas that I just forget people's names. So anyway, this guy looked like Dolph Lundgren. He really, really did. Flat top haircut, blonde hair, built. And he played pool, and so we were playing pool this one time, and there was this guy that was just being an asshole, and he beat everybody. He goes, "Oh, fuck this! You guys all suck!" And we were like, "Evans, come here, go get that guy." And he comes up, and the guy walks up, and Evans got his pool cue, and he puts his pool cue together, and he's like, "I'll play you." And so the guy broke, and Evan looked at the table and saw the lay, and he knew he had the table, and he looked at him, and he goes, "I must break you," and ran the fucking table. Like the dude didn't even get to shoot. Because the guy didn't sink anything on the break. And fucking Evans was like, "I must break you." And just housed this dude. Like, the guy would go out and play pool. And like he would take like $20 out. He would go out with $20, lay down a $20 bet, and come back home with like $600. Dude always had money. Like he would just, hey, Shopcat's here. Hi, Shopcat. Hi, Shopcat. You want to come up? You want up in my lap, don't you? Hey, buddy. Hi, buddy. Okay, so I found out his actual name is Mayo, but my daughter calls him Tab, and that's the other cat that now has decided that I'm trying to get this. This one's really skittish, but this one is really cute, and this one has a face that looks like a Disney princess. So my daughter is always trying to get this one to pet her, or to let her pet it. Hey, buddy. Are you okay with this? Can I come and pet you? Is that your daughter? So this is the male. And then there's like 3 other cats that look like that. If you go find my my Shopcat diaries. Wait, did somebody pay something else? What? God damn it. Oh, okay. I thought somebody threw... Oh, I was going to get upset. Like, that's more super chats than... I don't know what to say. Honestly, Ivan, like, seriously, that is unfucking believable. Hopefully I can... When? I don't see it. That's what I'm saying. I don't see... Oh, how did I design a knife to be produced? I did not even see that. Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and I'll answer that question. So, okay, so my knife designing process is this. I make a knife, and if I like it, I let a couple other people see it, and if they like it, I show it to Elliot. And then usually Elliot will go, you know what, you should try and sell this. And then if I do sell it, then I reach out to a company and I try and get it made. I have 2 designs I'm working on getting out, and these are going to be with different companies. So I actually reached out with one to Tony Marfione at Microtech, and I'm reaching out tomorrow probably. Well, I'm going to keep that other one a secret. But it is the drop point version of the sea snake. So it's more of a process. Like, okay, so I take a lot of stock in what Elliot says, because I mean, in all honesty, he's a very prolific knife maker. Most people like the majority of the things he do. They like what he do. They do. God damn it, I'm a fucking idiot. And so that's basically just my process. Is I bring it to people, I ask them what they like. The reason that I pursued doing the small EDC fixed blade was because I'm friends with Tim Reeve, and Tim was like, bro, like, really, you should be able, this should not be a problem, make that small little. He's like, I would much rather see this in a drop point. And I was like, well, I'm working on that too. I actually had the drop point before the one that he saw. So do I use a program? I use an Elliot. What I do is I make a knife. So if you've ever wondered why when you measure out one of my knives, they come out with weird length blades. They're not even. It's not just like a 3.5-inch blade. No, it's like a 3.17-inch blade. And you're like, why is that so weird? Well, that's because I don't base a knife off specific measurements. I don't design anything. I draw it out on a piece of metal. I make the handle first. And if it's comfortable, then I put a blade on it. And so it's just one of those things. Like, I don't try to do any specific measurements. My process is different than a lot of other knife makers. I make something, usually handle first, and then I incorporate a blade that's going to be useful. The combat utility, the stonefish. I'm not gonna lie to you. I told David Deng this in person. If you were to take a good close look at these 2 knives, you see that? You see that? You see a similarity. I wanted a knife that was combat ready, that had a useful blade, that had multiple handholds, jimping and things like that. Different useful features. And then I wanted a blade shape to go with a handle that was that comfortable. I mean, I told David, I just could not find a better blade shape than one that was very similar to the Horizon. And he was perfectly cool with it. He was like, thank you. I was like, I didn't copy his design. I utilized things about his design I liked. I told Mick Strider that the reason that this is here, you know why this has a back thumb ramp on this knife for reverse grip? Oh, because of this knife. Look familiar? There's nothing wrong with taking elements, big forward choil. There's nothing wrong with taking elements that you love from a knife, incorporating them into your design, as long as it's not a direct theft of proprietary, you know, intellectual property. None of those knives are exactly the same, but what I've taken elements from those knives that made them great. Why is the drinking light not on? That is it's a bad look, Mike. It is a bad look. There we go. Unfortunately, the gas pump whiskey dispenser is it's empty, and I just don't feel like filling it up. So I'm not gonna lie, there's elements of Elliot's knives in. If you were to take a look here, allow me to show you. You guys want to see something that Elliot and I, this is an awesome compliment. Elliot and I stumbled upon something that I did by accident. Let's look at it here. So, let me get a light on here. We'll look at it. Turn this on. So you guys like the Habu, which is a drop point version of my stonefish, right? Let me get that light on. That's better anyway. Let's just do that. So, there we go. Drop point version of the stonefish. Or, I mean, the sea snake. No, okay, so what I do is I just make it, and then I ask Elliot real nicely, Elliot, can you convert this to a CAD file? And he goes, yeah, it'll take me like 20 minutes. Because I've helped Elliot out. He'd be like, no, you've helped me out as much as I've helped you. And I appreciate it. I love Elliot, and I love his brother, and I feel like I think of them like family. Hang on a second, this is going to be I don't know why that is so dirty. There we go, that's better. So to point this out, so there we go. That is the Habu, which is the drop point version of this knife. See? Which basically is just if you were to flip that over, you've got that. You know what I mean? So, let me point out something that Elliot and I discovered by accident. Are you ready? That's the stinger. And I was like, Elliot, okay, I just won't make this. And he goes, Elliot looked at me and goes, why wouldn't you make it? And I was like, because it looks almost identical to the stinger. And he goes, so what's that tell you? And I was like, that I shouldn't make it because it's going to be a copy of the stinger. And he goes, no, that means that I taught you enough about making knives, the way I make knives and my design philosophy, that it picked it up, that I taught you enough that you accidentally made the same knife. And I'm like, so he goes, then I did my job. Like, I was trying to teach you. He's like, I couldn't be any more proud of that moment right now than if one of my kids did that. And I'm like, so you're cool with it? He goes, I'm absolutely cool with it. He's like, that's amazing. He's like, he looked at me, he's like, that tells me I really don't have much else to teach you except if you decide you want to make a folder, I'll teach you how to make a folder. I'm like, making folders sounds like it sucks. And he goes, well, then I don't have anything to teach you. He's like, get out of my office and go make a knife. Right? And that's what it was. Like, I developed the way that ergos feel in a knife from the things I learned from Elliot. People are like, Well, why does that knife have a flipper tab? Because I like the way that flipper tab with a finger choil on a folding knife feels. So why not make my finger guard feel just like a folding knife does? Why would I change that? It looks like a flipper tab. Yeah, you know why? Because most of the knives I have that are really, really comfortable with a forward finger choil have a flipper tab. So why not do that? And why not make a folder? Making a folder takes all the fun out of making a knife. I said it on Jared's channel when we did the live feed. A fixed blade only has to look straight. A folding knife has got to goddamn it be fucking straight. Just no way around it. And the level of engineering that takes the fun out of it. I don't have to do any math when I make, I got to measure scales and I got to make sure I have the right size hardware and I got to figure out I like at least the scale, like the screws, the handle screws, I like them to at least be fairly even and consistent, but I don't have to measure anything. I don't have to measure a goddamn thing on handles, knives for fixed blades. I don't. Folding knife, I got to know the pocket. I got to know the bearing dimensions. I got to know what my washer size is. I got to know where I'm going to have my cutout. Am I going to do a liner lock? Am I going to do a back lock? If I got to figure out where the spring's going to go, if I'm doing those things. I don't want that. I make knives for fun. I had a friend that made knives. Started making knives. Started as a business. He made knives as a hobby, and he turned it into a full-time job. And you know what? He quit. Sold his forge. Did all that shit. And I was like, why are you doing it? He goes, let me give you a piece of advice. Don't take your avocation and turn it into a vocation. He's like, when you take your hobby and turn it into a job, guess what? You don't have anything. You have a job. And he goes, he's like, you have a hobby to get away from the rigors of doing a job. If you turn your hobby into a job, you don't have a hobby anymore. You've just got a fucking job. And I was like, that's fair enough. Making knives for me is a hobby. I've just kind of good at it. That's why I do it on my schedule. Like if you want a fixed blade custom knife for me, I'll make you one. But it's going to take me however long it takes me because I'm just going to do it on my schedule. What do you want, Shopcat? Hey, you want up in this chair? Hang on a second. I got to move this. Watermelon, the Shopcat. Hey, bud. You want to come up? Come here. Oh, no, you want up in my lap, don't you? I gotcha. Hi. Yes. You are a good cat. Now shake hands. Shake. You got pretty pink toes. Let me see them pink toes. Let me see them. Some pink toes. Look at them pink toes. This is the most mellow cat I've ever seen in my life. Like, he'll fall asleep right here in my lap. I think he's almost asleep now. You almost asleep, bud? Pink toe beans. Bingo, Q Fiend. Q1 Fiend, how are you, sir? Wanna go over that chair? There you go. Come on. There you go. Oh, sorry. Q1 Fiend over from Jared's channel. Q1, do you see this? Belly rubs. He likes belly rubs. Like, loves them. Like, if you're rubbing his side, he'll roll over so you can get to his belly. Getting way past your belly, it's your bedtime. That's just silliness. You guys are all weak. Like, guys in my generation, we stay out drinking. Like, we'd go to work the next morning, show up in a clothes that we clothes that we left work in to go to the bar, drunk as shit with a fucking wristband on, ready to go to work. I'm here, boss. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. I just got that Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. I'm good, coach. Put me in. I remember I walked out of a bar one night. I went and got my car. So this bar in Sasebo, Japan called Kyoho's. It's Papa San's place. The guy was great, and he would keep the bar open. If there was one person there, he'd keep the bar open till noon if you were still buying beer. And so I had been there all night and I hadn't been home, and I had parked my car around the corner where it was free parking, and which was rare in Japan. So if you got that spot, you kept it. And so I had been there drinking, and it's like 7 o'clock in the morning comes rolling around. I'm like, yeah, I can't go home. If I go home and if I even sit down, I'm fucking done. So I went and I got my car and I pulled it up in front of Kyoho's in front of the bar. And I was pulling my uniform out of the trunk of my car. And as I'm pulling the uniform out of the trunk of my car, I see my chief drive by. And I'm like, oh, shit. I see this look on his face. I run in real quick and I close my trunk. I had a BMW M3 at the time. And I closed the trunk real hard, and I was like, oh, shit. I know he knows it's me because I'm the only guy that works there that has on shore duty. It's like, I'm the only guy that has a fucking BMW, let alone a BMW M3. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, I had the nicest car on base. And I was like, oh, shit. And I walk into the bar, and I get changed. I go back out my car, and I show up at quarters, and I'm in the smoke pit. And I was like sitting there, and the chief's like, oh, yeah. Got a smoke or Emler? I was like, yeah. Give him a cigarette. He said, so I was driving down by Four Corners, down the Bar District this morning. I was like, where are you really? And he goes, yeah. He's like, are there apartments down there? And I'm like, no, some of the places down there. There's an apartment building right there on Four Corners, right on the corner. He goes, is there an apartment above the one bar right on the corner near the 7-Eleven? And I'm like, you mean Kyoho's? And he goes, yeah. And I was like, no, absolutely not. I was grabbing my uniform out of the trunk of the car to come to work. And he goes, had you been at the bar all night? I was like, oh, yeah, absolutely. I was like, I'm not going to fucking lie to you. I walked out of that bar, grabbed my uniform, finished my beer, and drove to work. And he goes, are you going to be doing that tonight? And I was like, not at Kyoho's. He's like, why not? And I was like, because I know you drive by there now. He's like, you are a fucking idiot. How old was I at the time? 25, maybe 26. It was about the time I met my wife. It was probably about the time I met my wife. I was an E5 at the time. So yeah, old enough to fucking know better. But I would sleep like every third day. My roommate tell people, like, does Emler really go out and party that much? He's like, guys, I've seen Emler come home after work on a Friday at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon and get dressed and leave at like 7 o'clock Friday night and come back Sunday afternoon in the clothes he left in, just stumbling in, fucking with hickeys all over his neck and just fucking wrecked. I'd be like, make sure I'm up in the morning. I just go upstairs. He's like, that motherfucker will go out on a Friday, come back on a Sunday, and just like, I just joke about it. People are like, man, I made so much money in the military. People are like, they'd be like, oh, we make so much money. I'm like, really? I'm not seeing it. Like, I can barely afford my rent. And they're like, what do you do? I was like, well, I spent half my money on wine and women and gambling. And I fucking waste the other half. I don't know what to do with that shit. They're like, how much do you drink? Yes. It's a good question. So the day that Chris Kyle died, because like I said, I was friends with him and I saw it on the news. And I believe it was right around Super Bowl weekend or something. And I sat down and I started drinking a 30-pack of Miller Lite. And there was some event that was going on that I was going to drink anyway, and I'd had the beer. And I'd gotten it all cold. It was a cooler. And so I started drinking at like 10 o'clock in the morning. And at like 6 o'clock at night, my wife looked at me and she goes, do I need to go get more beer? And I said, yes. And she came home with another 30-pack. And when I woke up the next morning, I think there was like 8 or 9 beers yet. I drank like fucking almost 60 beers that day. So yeah, I mean, when I decide I'm gonna drink, yeah, I throw it down. To tell you the truth, this is the first I've drank since the last live feed we did. Not so much. I get heartburn when I drink these days. How's my liver? Actually, my liver function is fine. Like I said, it's that weird metabolic thing I got going on. Well, last Saturday, I drank half that bottle of Jameson's and like 8 beers in like 4 hours. Like everyone in my family has diabetes, and when I had my last checkup and all that stuff, they were like, "Yeah, you've." Oh yeah, I pissed a lot. That's a lot of micturating, as I said yes. That's a lot. I forget what I was gonna say though. That's the only thing. Like I drank, and then my head trauma shit, and I can't remember things. Like I forgot Chris Kyle's name last week because we were talking about the seals that I knew, and I've known a few of them. Can't remember shit. Yeah, I have a serious case of can't remember shit. I can't remember shit. What's up, Shopcat? You like that chair? What do you guys got going on? Anybody? Who do you guys want to talk about? I mean, we should ask. I should ask Ivan what he wants to talk about because that motherfucker paid for this entire live feed. Like I feel as though we should ask him what he wants to do. Like, besides cartwheels and dancing, I'm okay with it. Like you sound like my daughter. My daughter dropped her phone, and it wasn't her fault. This was absolutely not her fault, so I can't get upset. I think Jesse Ventura stories. I met Jesse Ventura once. And I thought he was an okay dude. I didn't know anything had happened until Chris told me about the whole deal that was going on with Jesse Ventura down at the bar in Imperial Beach, or not Imperial, yeah, Imperial Beach over here. I never heard, like I met him and he was pretty cool from what I understood and what I saw, but like I'll tell you who I did meet. Do you guys remember the band Survivor, Eye of the Tiger? So we used to have this thing called the Saikai American Festival that happened every year. It was like a county fair. And we had Oasis come one time. Remind me to tell you the story about the Charger cheerleaders after that. Anyway. So I'm drinking with my friends. We're at this thing and we had filled we had filled Camelbacks with mixed drinks. I had the Tombstone in my Camelback. I don't even remember what a Tombstone is, but I just remember that I had made Tombstones and filled my Camelback up with like with mixed drinks, with like liquor and mixers and shit. And we're walking around this park, and I'm talking to my friends, and this dude walks up, and he goes, and it's the dude from Survivor, Eye of the Tiger. It's a lead singer, and I think his name was Chad or something. I'm talking to my friends. He goes, "Hey guys, my name is so-and-so. I'm from the band Survivor." I was like, "That's great. Get the fuck out of here. I'm talking to my friends, you dickhead. Who fucking invited you over here?" He's like, "Well, like, we're the famous band." I was like, "You were a famous band like when Rocky came out in the 70s. Get the fuck away from me. Be like 70? Get the fuck away." So that was it. Okay, so Charger cheerleaders. So they would have the Charger cheerleaders come every year, and I was on shore duty, and somebody from shore duty had to be like their escort. And for some reason, someone thought it would be a good idea for me to meet the Charger cheerleaders in the big extended van and be their escort for the time that they were in town. And everybody's like, "Yeah, just take them to a hotel. Like, we don't want them interacting and all this." And so we get in the van, and I'm waiting for them at the airport, and I'm drinking beer at the airport because I'm like, I hate duty driver shit, and I'm drinking beer. And they have this machine at the airport where the guy loads this glass in, and he pushes a button, and the beer glass goes in, and it tips it down, and it fills the beer so there's no head, and then it kicks it back down, and then it just goes, psh! Yeah, Tombstone. Yeah, kind of like that. And it puts the head on it, and they're always perfect. Every beer is perfect. And I'm like, it's a robot bartender. And I was so enthralled by it that I was like, I was drinking my beer, not because I wanted to get drunk. I just wanted to watch him pour another beer with that machine. And so these girls show up, and I'm about half shit-faced. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Their flight from San Diego landed, and I'm like, I have to drive them the hour-and-a-half drive all the way back. And these girls are like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I'm not gonna lie to you girls. Like, I mean, I know you're all college girls, so you know how this works." I was like, "I'm about half drunk. So if you guys want to have a couple beers here at the airport while I sit here and try and sober up," and they're like, "Okay." They're like, "We're gonna like this." Because apparently a couple of them had been there the year before, and they're like, "This is not what we got last time." Like, we had this, they got straight-laced Joe Navy, which is what most people thought I was, but I weren't. And so anyway, these girls are like, okay. And so they're drinking. We show up. I'm about sobered up enough. So we show up and they're like, all right. They give them their welcome packages, and I'm sitting there chewing this. It's called black gum. It's like super strong licorice and mint. It just like it overpowers the smell of alcohol. That's why you buy it. And so I'm chewing this gum. I get a wad of it. And Master Chief's like, everything go okay? They're GM2. I'm like, yep, no problem, sir, no problem. Picked them up. He's like, okay, you're gonna take them out to their hotel, and you're just gonna like, I want you to make sure they get checked in, and then that's it. And I'm like, okay. And so we get in a van. I take them out to their hotel, and I'm like, I'm going out drinking. Anybody would come with me? And I'm like, who the fuck thought this was a good idea? I have some of the most beautiful women that are in this country. White women. Like, I mean, there's a lot of beautiful Asian women. I married one of them. And I'm like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll take him to a hotel and then nothing else, right? He's like, yeah. I was like, you girls want to go out in town? Like, I'm not supposed to take you out where the sailors are, but I can definitely take you out to places that I can go because I'm friends at the time, hanging out and friends with the Japanese mafia. And I was like, I'll take you out if you guys want to go out. And they're like, yes, please. And I took them out, and these girls did not have to buy a single drink. Japanese dudes love American women. And beautiful American women, that is a delicacy. These girls, like I sat back, and I got free beer all night from these dudes because I was just with them. I was their escort. I'm just sitting there, and these girls were a blast. And they're having fan. Are you talking like, yeah, they are. At any rate, so this one girl was super hot, and I'm like, I'm a fucking cheerleader. I'm a fucking Charger cheerleader. And I started talking to this chick, and I didn't realize it. She was a biochemistry major. And I started talking to this chick, and she was the least entertaining girl of the group. And I'm like, why is the hottest one gotta be the really fucking loser nerdy one? But I'm not gonna lie to you, I fucked the Charger cheerleader that time. A couple of them. And so my chief was like, after all this, I was on, basically I pulled like, that was my entire duty. Like that was the only thing I did. I took the Charger cheerleaders to and from the venue. I took them to and from their hotel. I took them to go get food. I was their concierge for the entire week that they were there. And I come back and my chief was like, so, how was that? And I was like, it was horrible, chief. And he goes, yeah, I fucking bet. And I was like, what? And he goes, oh, don't forget. So here's the thing. So I had this friend that I worked with named Morrison. And I forgot the cardinal rule. So Travis called me and I texted Travis back. And he's like, I told we had, what time? It wasn't even texting. It was called C-mail. So if you had, somebody had a doka or a I can't remember what the company, but it was texting, but it was called C-mail. And it was just SMS from phone to phone, but it was only through that company. And so Travis and I both, and he goes, so was that, and I tell him, and I forgot the cardinal rule. Telephone, television, telemo. Because if you want everybody to know about it rapidly, as fast as possible, those are the 3 fastest routes. Telephone, television, telemo. I told Mo what had happened, and my chief was like, I told Mo that he has to keep his mouth shut because Master Chief, if he finds out that you fucked like 3 of the cheerleaders and took them out every night and got them drunk, he's going to pull your little butthole up around your neck somewhere, and you're going to have this pretty little pink ring that'll go with your uniform real well. And I was like, thanks, Chief. He's like, don't tell fucking Morrison anything. And I was like, gotcha, Chief. He's like, you're a fucking idiot. Good job. I was like, I love you, Chief. You're great. Telephone, television, telemo. I forgot the cardinal rule of dissemination of information. What's the punishment for that? Well, I don't know, but I told you, like, there probably would have been a punishment except the physical thing that Master Chief would have pulled my butthole up around my neck somewhere and left me with a little pink neckerchief. What's that around your neck? That's my asshole. Oh, he pissed Master Chief off, huh? Yep. Because here's the thing. What do you do with an E9 at 20 years? You Fuck, tolerate him. Hope he doesn't get mad because there is no E10. Only had one injury about the inquiry about the fire attack. Jeremy, if you want to send me some pictures, I'll see if I can post them on Instagram. See if you're for doing a Chargers cheerleader. There's definitely no punishment. I know. I was like, I don't care what the punishment was. It was fucking worth it. It was fucking worth it. Because Mash, be like, I bet you took. I can just picture you took advantage of those girls. No, I didn't. It was their fucking idea. I fucked the chick that wound up being the command master chief of another ship's daughter. And so you guys want to hear that one? So it's never good when you're told that you have to be at the command master chief office on the ship on a day off. So I got a call on my cell phone. I was on the ship. My cell phone rang. And I answered my phone and it was like, Petty Officer Amler. I was like, who's this? It's like, this is Master Chief Floyd. The XO and the captain have requested your have requested your company on board the ship. We would like to meet you in my office. And I'm like, oh no. And immediately the thing in your head, all these bells and whistles, like, what the fuck have I done? And what can I come up with? Like, I've got to think of all these scenarios, all these different scenarios of something I might have done wrong. And I've got to think of an excuse or some sort of mitigating thing in the 15 minutes it's going to take me to throw on. I was like, oh, well. And so I'm like, all right, let me get a uniform on. He's like, no, just come in your civilian clothes. I'm like, fuck. So I'm like, oh, all right, I'll be there. I'll be there in like 15 minutes. He goes, try to make it 15. Don't make it 20, 25. You know, it is a day off. Captain and the XO are here. And I'm like, fuck me. And I'm like, oh, shit. Okay. So I come in and I'm like, I'm in like jeans, a t-shirt, a leather jacket. I rode my motorcycle in. I got my helmet in my hand. And I was like, I walk in and people are looking at me and they're like, I go to the XO or the command master chief's office and he's like, yeah, he just showed up, sir. And there's the XO. I was like, XO? And he just looked at me and he shook his head. And I'm like, oh no, this is no good. And so I walk, the captain comes down the steps. This dude, I love this captain. It was Captain Golden. And he walks in and he goes, Petty Officer Amler. I'm like, oh no. And the XO's looking at me and the command master chief is looking at me. And I'm like, he's like, close that door. And I'm like, oh, no. Like, it's bad enough I'm not even in my uniform and they're about to fuck me up. And so we close the door. And the XO's standing next to the door. Command Master Chief's standing behind his desk. And the captain's standing right next to me. He goes, it's been brought to my attention that you may be in a physical sexual relationship with the daughter of the Command Master Chief on board the USS Fort McHenry. And I'm like, oh, thank God. I was like, oh, it's just like, there's so many other things in my head that could be going. I was like, oh my God, they know about this. And I'm like, oh, yes, sir. Yes, absolutely. I mean, she's home from college and all this. And he goes, so you're not saying that this isn't happening? I was like, no, sir. I met her at a bar and, you know, she's on vacation from college. She's here, you know, visiting. And he goes, okay, so, all right, Petty Officer Emler. He's like, I like you. You're a pretty good petty officer. He's like, I'm going to ask you one favor. And I was like, anything for you, sir. And he was like, I'm going to ask you to end this relationship with the Command Master Chief's daughter. And I'm like, well, when I said anything, sir, I meant, well, anything but that. And he's like, well, and I can see out of the corner of my eye, I can see the XO's already smirking. And he's just smiling. Master Chief's like looking up, he's biting his lip, and he goes, when I said I meant anything but that, sir. And he's like, well, why is that? And I was like, well, it's just, well, she's so good at it, sir. And the XO just busts up laughing. He's sitting, he's like, and the captain's looking at me, and I see the Command Master Chief is like trying to look away, doing all this, and he goes, He's like, so you're telling me no? And I'm like, on that one, sir? Yeah, I'm going to tell you no. I personally think that my personal relationships are my business. And if the Master Chief doesn't like it, well, I mean, he can talk to me about it. But the fact is, like, I really don't think I should have to just stop a relationship with somebody just because her father doesn't like it. I don't care that he outranks me. I mean, he's not in my chain of command. And the XO is just laughing. And he goes, XO. And the XO's laughing so hard at this point because she's so good at it, sir. He's stepped out of the command master chief's office. He's like outside, and I can hear him laughing outside. And the command master chief is looking up in the corner, like trying not to make eye contact, biting his lip. And the captain's smiling. He's like, Master Chief, how old is this young lady? He goes, she's 22, sir. And he's like, Petty Officer Emler, how old are you? And I was like, I am 21. And he goes, so really, we got no ground to stand on here. And he's like, XO's like outside. And I can hear, he still can hear because he's just right outside the door. And the captain goes, the captain looks at me and he goes, well, can I ask you for another favor, Petty Officer Emler? I was like, almost anything for you, sir. And I hear the XO just start busting up again. He goes, could you please refrain from fucking her in his house? And I was like, oh, yeah, absolutely, sir. I've got an apartment. I walk outside. He's like, dismissed. Get out of here. He's like, I'll make sure everything's cool. I'll talk to the commanding officer. I'm like, you guys really had me scared. I thought that you guys found out that I was like, never mind. And he was like, wait, what? And I was like, nothing. I walk out and the XO has slid down the wall outside of Master Chief's door. He's laughing so hard. He's got his hands on his knees. He's got his forehead on his forearms, like knees to his chin, laughing like so hard. And I walk out. I was like, XO, see you Monday? And he goes, absolutely. And so I come in. As I'm coming in Monday morning, I see the XO getting out of his car as I'm walking up. And he goes, Petty Officer Emler, he's like, I got to tell you. He's like, you made me laugh so hard that my ribs hurt all weekend. And I was like, well, my hips hurt. And he goes, really? And I was like, yeah. I was like, carport's not part of their house, right? And he was like, oh my God. I was like, we were outside of the house. I mean, he just said in the house, right? And he's like, oh my God. He's like, we're going to have this whole conversation over again. Almost anything for you, sir. Again, oh God, that chick was fucking gorgeous. And my roommate at the time was telling everybody about it. He goes, dude, Emler's fucking Command Master Chief from the other ship's daughter. I mean, like the whole thing was they knew it, and I think it was humorous. And I think they were hoping that maybe I'd just agree not to. But I mean, there's only so much they can do. I mean, I was 21. She was like 22. She was in college. She was like a senior in college, I think, something like that. She was doing postgraduate or some shit. And he's a Master Chief. Like, now I did see him a couple times on base, and every time I'd see him, you just see that look in his eyes, like, I'm gonna. But he knew that like he can't just walk up and hit me, and that's what I was banking on. I was like, this dude just can't walk up and hit me. He's Command Master Chief. Like, there's repercussions for that. I'm a subordinate. You gotta have the right reasons. Like, you can hit me, you just gotta be able to justify that shit the right way. I wasn't worried about it. I knew I was good. It's not like his daughter was like 15 or some shit. We did have a guy that was doing some shit like that. We beat the fuck out of him. They put him on a helo. Did I find out how they found out? Yeah. Command Master Chief called him. The Command Master Chief from the other ship called my captain and my Command Master Chief, Floyd, Command Master Chief Floyd. He called him personally. Like, there's one of your sailors. This guy's like, he's got my daughter out all night. And they were in my house. And we spent the night in her room and da-da-da. I'm like, dude, don't be a bitch bag. I saw him. I was leaving his house. That's how he found out. She was walking me out that next morning. I'm like, she's 22. I get it. He doesn't want me to fuck her in his house. I won't fuck her in his house anymore. I fucked her in his carport outside. The Bonhomme... Oh, there was... no, I did not hear about the Bonhomme Richard fire. I'm going to have to look that up. Jake, you take it easy. It's, what time is it? Fuck. Have we done it again? Nah. Nah, we're at like an hour and a half. We're not doing no 5-hour, 4-hour live feed. I got to get off here anyway. I got things I want to do tomorrow. And I don't want to. I know what's going to happen is if I keep doing this, I'm going to keep drinking, and then I'm going to feel like shit tomorrow. No, I think he's referring to the guy that we had that got caught with a 15-year-old girl. She was another. It was like his boss's daughter or his another guy in another division's daughter, but she was only like 15. I mean, like he was like 19. So I mean, it's not. I mean, it's still bad, but got almost 30. Yeah, there's still 30 people here, but I'm sorry, I can't only tell so many stories. Todd, you take it easy. I can only tell so many stories. I unplugged my phone too, so I can sit down over here because there's no outlet except the one that's right there above my head, and I don't have a charger cord that's long enough. Yeah, he's old enough to know better. I'm not gonna lie though. Like, I mean, I'm not at all trying to justify it, but there were a lot of those dependent girls that would the high school, like seniors and juniors, and they would go out. And they would troll the bars, and they would, because they would just like sneak out of their houses on weekends. And the bars were right outside of housing, and so they'd sneak out and they would lie to guys about how old they were and stuff. And I mean, you if you saw a chick in the bar and she looks similar to your age, there was a chance, there's a good chance she was just another sailor, and that's, it happened a lot. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not trying to justify it. I'm just saying like. There's a lot of like in a military area like that, there's a lot of you're not sure who's a sailor and who's not, and if they're out in a bar drinking, it's really hard to tell. Well, Mr. Cabretti, and that's what I was gonna say, and that's why I was always just really careful. Like I just basically usually stuck to fucking Japanese chicks, because most of them I knew were, if you're hanging out at a bar, you're Japanese usually. Like if you're white and you were at a bar, you didn't get carded. If you were Japanese in a bar, you had to be at least of drinking age, which is 19 in Japan. 19 or 20, I can't remember. So I mean, if you're drinking a bar in Japan and you were a Japanese female, pretty good bet. But I mean, like, okay. I'm not gonna lie, I never carded any of the chicks that I went home with. I never did. I mean, I can look back and I go, that's pretty shitty. That could be fucked up. But, retrospect, I could see making a mistake. Like I said, not justifying it. I have a daughter that's a 13-year-old girl, and I would not want someone to pursue something like that. But like to mistakes, especially like in an environment where they're in a bar drinking, that's where it happened. Now, this guy, I do believe, knew after, like he found out after and continued. That's why he got his ass beat. We relocated. I had to charge my phone because you guys are saying, oh, there's like 30 people here. All right. There's a difference between getting got and you're like, oh shit, I didn't know. And then be like, well, I found out, but I don't know. You know what you remind me of, Greg? Have you guys ever watched Mallrats? And at the end, when they're on the stage and Brody's telling a story about like his cousin that was in the plane crash, and he goes, so everybody's like, the plane's going down, so everybody's like pulling out their junk and beating it, and then all of a sudden the plane comes back online and everything's fine, and everybody just put away their pieces and their junk, and then they're like, and they never talked about it again. And then the guy was like, well, did he come or what? And he's like, Jesus Christ, there's just some things you don't talk about. Every time you're on one of my live feeds, that's what pops into my head. I'm just kidding. It's just funny. No, I'm not kidding. Serious. I watched it the other night. I have it on DVD. I have it on Blu-ray. So the DVD sits in my car. I have it on Blu-ray in case my Wi-Fi goes down. And I also own it on digital media. I own it on all three. I'm like, why? I own like 4 different versions of the movie Dune. I'm a fucking geek. But God, this knife is awesome. Let's do a quick, just every once in a while, I gotta, ooh, that's nasty. I mean, I just feel bad. Like, I have to tell you, Ivan, I feel bad that you put that much money into it, and then you did the monthly on top of that. And I can't look at the screen without seeing that $100 up there. Just feel as though I've taken advantage. I mean, I'm okay with it. I can reconcile myself with it. I can reconcile myself with it. It's not the first time that I've... What is it? Hey, $20 is $20. You know? Did you hear the joke about the dude that walks in the bar and he goes, "Bartender, give me 10 shots of tequila." And he goes, "Wow." And the guy drinks them all in a row. And he goes, "What do we celebrate?" He's like, "My first blowjob." And he goes, "Well, hell, you should have told me how to give you another. Here, have another one." He goes, "No, I think 10 will get the taste out of my mouth." I think 10 will get it. Rectum. Damn near killed him. Oh, God. Coming from a guy whose Instagram handle is Raccoon Sex Dungeon. Nathan, you should not have even cringed at that. You should have been, yes. You should have been going, yes, yes, and then watching 2 Girls, 1 Cup. Sorry. Guys, watch this. Like, I will plug an item that is really good. So you ready for this? I'm going to turn off that ring light. The only light we're going to use is this on turbo. You want to talk about a powerful pocket light. Ready? So it's going to be dark. It's really dark. The only other light is that beer light. You ready for this? It's like daylight. That is a great light. If you have not got one of these Baton 3s with the charger case, I would recommend getting one, even if they're not on sale. Oh, where's the... Ooh, mood lighting. How's this? You guys like this lighting? The all blue with the Miller High Life symbol, because it's a symbol. It's like a drum symbol. Blue neon beer light. Mood lighting. You guys are like, I don't know if I care. Just tell another story. Fuck, my knee hurts. There was a joke I was going to tell you, and I don't think I can remember it. I'm trying to find... I'm honestly, guys, I'm trying to turn that light back on because I can't... Just borrowed on a little friction from a stranger. Yeah. I had guys that, like, okay, so wouldn't cheat on my wife, never thought about it. And part of that, I'll tell you one of the reasons why. This didn't come from my father, this came from my grandfather. He put things in perspective for me one time, but I never would have cheated on my wife, and I lost a lot of respect for some guys that did, because military guys are famous for that, and I had some guys that I respected a lot that I saw doing it. I'm like, I mean, like, a girlfriend is one thing. But like I said, you stood up in a church and told God, and I think it's just because I grew up in the 1800s. No joke. Southeast Ohio, fucking middle of nowhere. Basically grew up in the 1800s. Just some weird social hang-ups because I grew up that way. But, you know, I can't get up to say it's their life if they want to live it that way. But, fuck, I forget where I was going with it. Yeah, well, anyway. Don't cheat on your wife. I was going to tell a joke. Oh, that's right. I was going to tell a joke, but there's... I'm not sure I'm going to be able to tell the joke. Have I ever watched Norm Macdonald? He's not funny. So not really. Like when he did Weekend Update, that was funny. But Norm Macdonald, I don't find him funny. His political stance on things, I have a tendency to agree with, but I don't find his actual humor funny. Like he does some honest, like when you see him, Dirty Work was a funny movie, but that was the last thing he did that was funny. I think he should just try to give up being funny and just like pursue honest political commentary. He does a really good job on it. And I'm not saying I agree with everything he says. I'm just saying he does a really good job being honest with his political stances and things like that. So I'm much more inclined to respect somebody that's honest and forthcoming and sticks with what they're saying politically than someone who's just going to say one thing and then turn around and say something else. Like, okay, I'll just go ahead and throw it out there. Joe Biden is a blatant out and out fucking liar, and he's been proven to be a liar years and years and years. He actually had to give up on a presidential race because he was a liar. He got caught lying, he got plagiarizing. He's been caught now, and the whole thing is, he just is like, I don't trust him because, like, not that I trust any politician. I'm just saying, like, the motherfucker lies all the time, and people are like surprised that, oh, he said this, but like, he didn't mean it. Yeah, he did. He was fucking lying. So that's as far as I'm going to go with that. But, you know, it's just, that's my take on it. Like, at least guys like Norm Macdonald, at least he's honest. He's not half-assed with what he says. But he's not funny anymore. I mean, some of his shit used to be funny. So, we're not going to get into that because they'll fucking block me again. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. Like, you can't say anything. I put up a joke. on Facebook, and it got fact-checked. I'm like, motherfuckers, it's a joke. It's not supposed to be factual. It was a van with a generator that was plugged into an electric car. And it says, a gas-powered van hauling a diesel-powered generator plugged into an electric car. And people are like, well, that's a battery pack. That's not a diesel generator. That's not true. I'm like, motherfucker, how, like, it doesn't matter how you look at it. Okay, well, let's do this. Let's fact check this. That's a gas or diesel powered van hauling a battery pack that was charged probably with electricity made with coal, charging an electric car. So fact check that. So at what point have we reached that you can't tell a joke without being fact checked? It was meant to be humorous. I look at a picture, I'm like, that's fucking funny. But you put it up and people are like, that's not true. I'm like, I didn't say it was true. I said it was fucking funny. This guy gets pulled over by Ohio State Highway Trooper. So if you've ever been to Ohio, you know that these assholes in their brown uniforms, we call them road Nazis. So this guy gets pulled over, and the cop pulls him over, and he sees this guy's beat up truck, and he walks up, and he goes, so I'd issue you a ticket, but I don't think a vagrant scum bottom like you would be able to pay it. And the guy's like, well, I've got a job. I actually have a pretty well-paying job. And the state trooper looks at him and goes, well, who would hire you to do anything? He said, well, I mean, I get a lot of work and I get paid really well for it. He's like, what do you do? He said, well, I'm a rectum stretcher. And he goes, a rectum stretcher? What's a rectum stretcher do? He's like, well, if you need a rectum stretched, you know, I show up and I'll stretch it. And he goes, well, how's that work? And he goes, well, usually I show up and you show me the rectum, and usually I'll start with my pinkies, and I'll get in there and I'll stretch it a little bit, and I get so I can get my thumbs in, and I get everything in, and when I can get my arm in, then I get it stretched. And he's like, and I'll stretch it out till I get my foot in it, and I'll stretch it up, and I'll get it when I get it about 6 foot and about like that, you know. I've stretched that rectum about where it needs to be. And he goes, well, what would you do with a 6-foot asshole? It's like, my opinion, I'd put him in a brown uniform, give him a badge, and turn him into an Ohio State Highway Trooper. But you know, that's not my part of the job. There you go. There's a joke for you. What would you do with a 6-foot asshole? Put him in a brown Ohio State Highway Trooper uniform and give him a fucking badge. But you know, hey, that's not what I got nothing to do. I just do the stretching. They are the worst. I hate the Ohio State Highway Patrol. They are the fucking worst. Do you want to know what I know? Probably not, because it's probably going to get this channel taken down. So probably just keep it yourself, because I know a lot of shit too. And I just keep it to myself. Keep my mouth shut. Yeah, they're way worse than they're about the same as the New York State troopers are pretty bad. So basically, most of your state trooper agencies, they're pretty bad. We call them all road Nazis. But Ohio State Highway Patrol, they're about the worst. They're horrible. I hate them. So I used to be a reserve deputy, and I pepper sprayed one of them by accident on purpose. Accidentally on purpose. Like, oops, sorry about that. Oh, Jesus Christ! My bad. I'm sorry. Reserve deputy. Equipment malfunction. I could leave. The guy I was a partner with, he's like, you did that shit on purpose, did you? I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Dickhead. Yeah, Virginia is bad. State Ohio Patrol is always bad in every state. And I mean, I know they have a job, but the fact is, yeah, you have a job, but you ain't gotta be a fucking prick about it. I had a job too, and I didn't treat everyone like shit while I was doing it. I pepper sprayed. I'll tell you, I was a reserve deputy one time. I was home, and when I would go home on leave, I'd be a reserve deputy. So I was home on leave one time, and I was acting as a reserve deputy. And this was back in the day where the military still went out. I was still young. I was maybe 25 or so. And the military would still issue a warrant. And the Marines would send people out looking for you, chasers. And so this guy had been gone for like 2 years, and he showed up, and they have a bench warrant. And so he got a speeding ticket, and they picked him up, and they realized he had a bench warrant as a deserter. Not a deserter, but unauthorized absence, AWOL. And so these dudes show up, and it's fall, November, cold and raining, Southeast Ohio, muddy, nasty, cold, spitting snow. And these guys show up and they're like, we're here to pick up that guy. We're like, ooh, you guys don't look pleasant at all. I'm going to enjoy this. So we sign all the paperwork, turn over, and we're like, do you want us to uncuff him? And they're like, cuff him in the front. And we cuffed him in front. We walk him out. And he goes, why is he on his feet? Get him on his hands and knees. This motherfucker can crawl to the car. I'm like, oh, I'm really going to enjoy watching this. They made this dude crawl all the way out to their car in the parking lot, which was parked in this dirt, mud parking lot. And these motherfuckers picked this dude up by the seat of his pants and threw him in the back of that. They picked him up by the back of his jacket and the seat of his pants and threw him like a fucking rainbow into the back of that car. And I heard him hit the other side. Wham! And he was like, you guys, he's like, I don't want to hear a fucking word out of you until we get to Virginia. And I was like, I don't think he's going to have a pleasant trip. And the guy I was working with, Moose, he looked at me and was like, I think you're right. I don't think that's going to be a pleasant trip for him at all. I was like, how far do you think they're going to get away from here before they drag him out and beat him viciously? And he goes, figured a courthouse. We can't see him from there. And I was like, yeah. Yeah, I'm figuring a courthouse because it's just right over there and it's dark. It was evening time. And I was like, I figured they could drag him out, beat the shit out of him there. And no one would even notice. There's no cars in town. It's like 10 o'clock at night. It's like, how far do you think they're going to go before they drag him out and beat the fuck out of him? I was like, not very. They didn't seem happy with him. The drive from Virginia to Ohio in the rain to go pick up a dude. Oh, you guys have to shut the fuck up. I don't want a word out of you. I was like, oh, that's a long fucking drive with those two animals. I'm missing the comments here. What was that? Now, see, I don't get tickets anymore because when I worked for the base, I worked for the government as a civilian. Technically, I qualified as federal law enforcement. Carried a weapon. I qualify, and so my vehicle is registered as such. I imagine there's some rule that says that I have to deregister my vehicle as such, but I would imagine that that would be the government's job when I leave that position, that anything that they did when I came into that position that they would revocate, but they didn't. And so my wife was like, why don't you get like handicap plates since you have the placard? And I was like, because right now I can drive 100 miles an hour on the freeway and a cop will pull up behind me and you can see him on the thing and they'll run me and you see him look at it and they'll just slow down and pull around me and tell me to keep it down a little bit. I was like, slow down. If I could get pulled over all the time, I'm like, do me a favor. Try to keep it under 90. Gotcha. parking my car in no parking zones, and I walk away from it. People are like, "You're gonna get a ticket." I'm like, "I'm pretty sure I won't. Pretty sure I'm good." The problem with having a big bushy mustache and beard, bushy mustache and beard hairs that always wind up in your mouth. Where at? Oh, you gotta be talking about Virginia. I will say Virginia is the only place I've ever been where I saw a cop pull over an entire row of cars. Like, he pulled over like 8 cars in a fucking row and was just walking down the line, giving them fucking tickets. I was driving, so that was when I was in Quantico for designated marksman school. Designated marksman school, so if you guys don't know what designated marksman school is, it's just a marksmanship school that's taught at the FBI sniper school in Quantico. And I was coming back from Ohio. I had went to see my grandmother was real sick, and I was on my way back to Quantico. So that meant I had to drive through Virginia and Baltimore and all that shit down towards Washington, D.C. area. And when I got into Virginia, I was coming into Virginia, and I saw like 8 cars lined up, and one cop had pulled these 8 cars over, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. That's some big dick energy right there. You got 8 cars by yourself. Like, what the fuck? That's like some fucking. That's some herding. That's some fucking old west cattle herding shit right there. Yeah, I went to Sears school. It's fucking horrible. I had a kid ask me, "Would you go back?" And I'm like, "I'd rather staple my nuts to a board, and then unstaple them." And then pull them up real tight to where like there's like you can see the veins and shit, and then just thump them all day. Like, just take my balls and pull them up real tight, and take one of them big fat red rubber bands like they have on broccoli, tie a knot in the end of it, stretch it out as far as I can get it, and snap myself on a ball sack. Those are all things I would rather do than go back to Sears school. That was fucking horrible. It's ungodly. It's not humans. Weren't meant to do that to other humans. I don't even want to talk about that anymore. Let's change subject real quick. Trust me. You don't want to go to that school. Would you go back? Fuck no! Why? I went once. Well, fuck, I got my certificate. Why the fuck would I go back? It's like a weight loss plan? Get the fuck away from me. What are you, retarded? You didn't get enough oxygen in the womb, did you? Get the him away from me. Go talk to your... Hey, come get your child. Come get your... MA1, come get your kid. I'm gonna fucking kill him. He was like, why are you talking to him? Why are you talking to him? He's just a big, disgruntled, angry mess. Why are you talking to that big motherfucker? Leave him be. Well, just thought... No, you stop thinking. Who paid you to think? Don't fuck with him. Leave him be. Just fucking big, angry. Just stay away from him. I would rather put honey on my dick and put it in an anthill than go back. Just slather it with honey and just pour ants on it. Like fucking... I'd rather get a toothy blowjob from a chick with braces and chipped teeth than go back. What the fuck? That's a Black & Decker pecker wrecker right there. This is what you guys are sticking around for. That's why there's 25 people here 158 minutes later. You know what? Y'all need to tell Jared, like, you should have been on Mike's live feed. You should have done this. I wouldn't want to do this on Jared's channel. I wouldn't want to run the risk of getting anything on his shit demonetized. I'd rather eat a bowl of ice cream. I don't know where we're going with that. It's probably going to be awful. There's probably something awful coming about. Kara's making him go to the bed. She's like, yeah, you can't hang out with him. He's an idiot. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying, those are all things I'd rather do. Like, even as bad as those things are, I'd still rather do those things than ever go back. Ever. Ever, 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 ever again. Like, just the thought. The fucked up thing is the first part of the school, it's all in a classroom. And the instructors are really cool with you. And then the day of, they take you out in a van and you zip tied with your hands behind your back and you're wearing fucking hoods over your face. They drag you out of the van by your feet, throw you in the dirt, and they're firing fucking AK-47s in the air and shit. And you're like, what the fuck happened? What the fuck is going on? I didn't sign up for this. The classroom shit was fun. This isn't fun. All the fun is gone. And that's the best part of it. That right there that I described, that's the best part of all of it after the class. So you have the classroom, it's great. Second best part, getting yanked out of a van, wearing a hood with zip ties, and they're firing AK-47s. They throw you out into the mud and dirt onto your back, and then cut your zip ties, pull your hood off, and fucking send you out in the woods. That's the second best part of it. Classroom, great. Second best part, that. Everything else, pure fucking hell. It's terrible. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting. It's garbage. People, I can't believe people treat people like that. Fucking, you know it's a traumatic school. You wake up in the middle of the night, you had a dream about it, you're like, Jesus. Oh yeah. I don't, it's over. Yay. Oh, I'm going back to sleep. What was that, Jack? What's my current favorite Ferrum Forged knife I own? It's got to be my Master Blaster, I think. The Master Blaster, it's a toss-up between the Master Blaster and this one. So, I mean, I say that, like, my Fortis was a Grail knife, but I really can't carry it because I can't duplicate that finish that's on it, so it pretty much stays in the case. But if to carry, it's this one on my Master Blaster. This one gets a lot of pocket time. This is a very, very good knife. I love this knife. And it is frighteningly sharp. Jack's been in and out. I think Jack's been here. Remember the whole politics thing? And get your fucking politics out of my sports. I have not watched football in probably 2 years. I shut off our cable because I just don't care to fucking watch any of that shit. So you were gone for a blunt? That makes sense. So I just don't watch sports. I watch Jelly's marble runs, the Marble Olympics. There's enough unpleasant shit that I've lived through in my life. I don't need it in my sports, which I enjoyed. I don't. And I mean, they're perfectly welcome to their opinion and their political views. Just, I don't know if I can see it, so I just don't watch sports. That's why I didn't watch the Olympics. I knew it was going to happen. Even the Olympic Committee said, oh, you can't do this, and no kneeling. And I was like, I know it's going to fucking happen. I'm just not watching that shit. It's fucking entertaining as shit. Like, it is way more, I'm not gonna lie, like, I would rather, it's way more entertaining than baseball, which it's not saying much. I mean, can I watch paint dry or watch baseball? Paint. Yeah, it might change color. I don't like baseball. I'll play baseball all day. I played baseball. I played softball. I was on a softball team. I fucking just won't watch it. Like, I'm like, okay, that's fucking boring. Hey, wake me up when somebody does something. Like, I'll put on, like, if I'm really sleepy, I'll put on baseball. Like, I can't sleep. Let me put on some baseball. Shopcat came back. Where you at, bud? But you didn't trip the light. Oh, are you wanting to go in and see Mama? All right, she wants to go in. He wants to go in and see the kid. Let's not, Jack. I like the fact that I get paid on this channel. I turned this into a politics channel, and it's all gone. Hang on, I'm gonna let the cat in. I think he wants to go in. You want to see Mama? Do you want to go in and see Mama? You can go in and see Mama. Cat's coming in to see you, Yuka. She's on my wife is FaceTiming with her sister in Japan, so. Shopcat does have mic working for him now. Shopcat World. Did you guys see? I'm doing the Shopcat Chronicles. And tonight I fed him and all of his offspring. Shopcat. Shopcat's awesome. I like that cat a lot. You're gonna call it Logical. Where are you at on it? You on the East Coast Logical? I mean that would, I mean, even if you're on the East Coast, it's only 2 a.m. That's watching the Olympics in Japan. Yeah, good for you. There's only one thing I was interested in, and they didn't even really have anything on YouTube about it. I wanted to, and well, and the fact that the one thing I wanted to see, the chick. Oh yeah, he's got like, go when you get a chance, Nathan. I did Shopcat Chronicles, Shop Cats. I did a quick 15-second video. There's like 3 other cats that look like him that are out in the yard. I feed them, and there's like 3 or 4 of them now. So there's one. So I've named most of them. So there's one that looks like a Disney princess. That's Frozen. She looks like Elsa. That's her name. Elsa. She's got like it's a really really pretty cat. She's got that weird like almost like a cartoon look to her. Then there's a cat that has extra toes. It has a set of extra toes, so it looks like he's got boxing gloves on or mittens. So his name's Knuckles. There's one that is really really sweet. Always wants to be petted, but he's got like a skin problem on his neck. I call him Scuzz because he's kind of scuzzy looking. But they're all really sweet, and they all are really nice, except for Elsa, the princess looking one, because she hisses at me. But she started coming in and is getting closer. So I've named them all. There's like 4 total. But Shopcat's the one that is always in here, and my daughter named him Tab. Like the soda. Uh-oh. I was going to say something, but never mind. I'm just going to leave it. I'm just going to leave it be. Never mind. Anyway, my wife's in there talking to her sister. Have any bayonets, Nike? No, because I choose to have useful knives. You know what a bayonet is useful for? If you don't have a bipod, you can take it in the dirt and you can lay your rifle fucking stock on it and you can stabilize your rifle. It's about the only good fucking thing you can do with a bayonet because they're fucking garbage. Sorry. Oh, you want a bayonet? I want you to sharpen a bayonet. No, that's dumb. They're always made out of the shittiest metal. They won't take an edge. They're always garbage. They're the cheapest made possible, and the only thing they're good for is stabbing shit. Which is the least functional way to use a knife in combat, is to stab somebody with it. Worthless. It's about, like I said, the only thing a bayonet's good for is if you fucking laying down, you're trying to take a long distance shot in the prone position and you want to get that rifle up, so instead you don't have a bipod, you stick it in the ground, stick the gun on the butt of it, and you fucking use it like a bipod. That's it. That's good. It might have gotten used for its express purpose, which is to turn your gun into a... The only purpose for a bayonet is because you failed to exercise fucking ammo discipline. And now you're out of ammo. And I got news for you. An M1 Garand makes a very poorly designed bat. So the only other option you have is to turn it into a fucking spear. People, and I'm sorry, I know not everybody was in the military, not everybody was downrange, not everybody did combat skills and all this, but I'm like, I see all these things that people have this misconception and preconceived ideas about things in the military and military weapons and things like that. And I'm like, it is so wrong. You are so far off. And it's only because they don't know. But I mean, I did it for my entire adult life, so I'm just like, how come you don't know? And I remember, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I did it from the time I was 17 until just a few years ago, technically. And so I'm like, oh, yeah, that explains it. That makes sense. I think the cat wanted to drink water. The cat, there's a water bowl in the yard. Great to hear me have a rant. Every once in a while, I let out a little quick rant. You much of a rifle guy? Here in San Diego, no. I really don't have a need for a rifle. I honestly don't think a rifle is very good for home defense. I have firearms. I have pistols. I have a shotgun. And those are great for home defense. I really don't see... Like, a lot of people are like, you can use an AR for home defense.
I'm not trying to say that I'm on the ban AR bandwagon. I'm not. If you want an AR, buy an AR, but don't try to justify it as saying it's good for home defense. I don't think it is. I personally don't like missing a shot at a bad guy and then coming in and realizing my daughter's head is all splattered across the wall because it shot through my dresser, my TV, the wall, the stud, and then hit my daughter. I don't even use double up buck in my shotgun. I use a number 4 buck shot because it won't go through 2 sides of drywall. But from me to the bedroom door, it's going to take what's inside you and put it on the outside. Even as far as the rounds that I have in my handguns, I have the rip rounds, which are low penetration, high expansion rounds that are going to dump all their energy relatively quickly. And for all my other rounds, I have core bond hollow points, and I actually have glazer safety slugs. They're guaranteed not to over penetrate. I want to dump all that energy as rapidly as possible. I don't see using a rifle as a home defense weapon in a home. Now, if I was on the farm where I would have my castle doctrine ability and somebody was approaching my house, maybe multiple people, yes, absolutely. So low penetration, high velocity, high energy dump, core bond, 137 grain hollow points out of a 40 caliber Smith & Wesson. They are going to dump all of your energy really quickly. They look like a flying ashtray. The cup in them is so deep you can see the brass at the bottom. There's very little lead. It's going to open up and it's going to turn into a dinner plate inside you, and it's going to just, like I said, it's going to put what's inside of you on the outside, and then at the end of the day, one shot, one stop. That's what I want. The rip rounds, the RIP rounds, everybody's like, those are the worst. Oh my God, they're so... No, they actually are... They're a frangible type round that's going to not over penetrate. It's not going to go through the person I'm firing at. It's going to stop inside, which is what I want. I want to dump all that energy inside. Anybody that knows anything about guns is going to tell you that's the way to go. You know why 45 works so much better than 9mm? 9mm has a tendency not to dump any energy. It goes straight through. And people are like, well, no, 9mm. Tell me what you want. I'm telling you, at that velocity, at that weight, you got something that's going really fast. It doesn't have enough weight to transfer. It's going to not dump any energy. It's going to punch right through and cause minimal damage. I equate it to this. 9mm is like a tack hammer. I can throw a tack hammer hard as fuck. If it hits you, is it going to hurt? Yeah, it's going to hurt. Now, 45 is more like a 12-pound sledgehammer. I pick up a 12-pound sledgehammer. I can't throw it as fast, and I can't throw it as far. But if it hits you, it's going to fuck you up pretty bad. 45. 9mm, for those who sit to pee. 45, for those that choose to shoot once. Why do I carry a 45? Because right now, they don't make a 46. There you go. There's a little rant. Happy? And fucking Casper's like, wow. Am I wrong? I want something that is going to not go all the way through, something that's going to go in, and it's going to leave a massive temporary wound cavity. Because everybody's like, well, like that sounds horrible. Like that's going to perma-sleep someone. I'm like, yeah, because I'm not trying to fucking tickle you out of my house. Right? I'm not trying to, like, ooh, Gucci, did you go away? No. I want to be able to go 911. Yeah, I don't think you need the ambulance. You should probably bring the coroner. That's what I want. Because if you're going to have to do it fucking right. Don't half-ass it. Don't play around at it. That door that you kicked open was locked for your protection, not for mine. You should have thought about that. You guys watch that? What was the one with they came into the blind dude's house? My buddy was like, dude, that's creepy. That's like you. Like, oh, wrong house, motherfucker, wrong house. You've chosen poorly. I can honestly say. Yeah, I've watched the Thunder Ranch stuff. What was I going to say? you said something. I don't understand why people hunt and kill each other. Well, I mean, because the governments make us. There's a quote. I'm trying to remember it. Somebody look it up. It was Ernest Hemingway's quote about hunting men. And when I went to Quantico, there was a gunnery sergeant that told us to it. I was like, when a man has hunted men for long enough, I can't remember the whole quote. And he was like, gentlemen, I want there to be no illusions. After this school, you will be hunting men. And he's like, if you're a country boy and you're a hunter, he's like, you're probably not gonna look at it the same. And he's not wrong. Since then, I have never been able to hunt. Like I don't go hunting. I don't go deer hunting and things like that anymore. It's there's a complete difference. It kind of ruined things. Somebody wants to look that up and post it. It's Ernest Hemingway, hunting men comment. If you guys want to look that up. Just to play golf. I'll tell you the coolest thing at Quantico. That's where that officers course is for the Marines, for the field officer thing, and they have this. It's a very arduous course that they have to complete. It's done in full gear, and I forget how many miles it is, and it's awful. But the fact is, they're officers, and if you're an enlisted guy like me, you enjoy the fact that they are suffering badly. You're like, yeah, that sucks. I should pop some popcorn. I got my daughter the other day, and then I got Tino with it. I was like, yeah, I told Tino, I was like, yeah, I looked at Isabel because I mean she's only 13, so she falls for things. Like she's not got that logical thought process like as she gets older. As I hope will start. I hope it does. I can't live with her being a teenager like that for the rest of her life. And I looked at her and I was like, hey, you know how to keep an idiot in suspense? And she's like, I don't know. And I was like, I'll tell you tomorrow. And she was like, she walked away for a second. She was like, and I told Matt, and I told, you know how to keep an idiot in suspense? I'll tell you tomorrow. And he was like, oh, I just got that. And I was like, holy shit, dude. I was like, wow, I feel bad that I did that to you in the Home Depot parking lot. I was helping him. We went to go he needed silicone. We put a Gobi roof rack and ladder on his truck the one day here a couple weeks ago, and it was so hot and I got so sunburnt. Like I came home and it was like I had this red band around my. There you go. There's no hunting like the hunting men, and those who have hunted armed men long enough and liked it never care for anything else thereafter. And he's not wrong. It definitely fucks things up for you because there's an element to that you just can't deny, and whether you want to admit it or not, there's a definite thing about that it's appealing, and that's why guys like Chris Kyle and Carlos Hathcock and all those snipers, that's why there's such an appeal to those guys, is because deep down inside you want to be able to do that, and then once you've done it, you're like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't like it. But it's one of those things that just occurs, and it's a psychological thing, and it definitely ruined. I don't hunt. I haven't went hunting in years. I still go shoot. I will shoot certain things, like on the farm, groundhogs. I'll hunt groundhogs because they damage the farm, they damage the crops, they damage the fields, and there's nothing worse than running a no-till corn planter around a field and having a wheel drop in and break off a wheel, and you gotta have somebody come out. It has to be welded on a certain way, so you got to get a repair guy to come out. You can't move it because one of the wheels fell off, and nothing's worse than that. So to mitigate that, you hunt, you just shoot groundhogs. It's like target practice, and certain birds, they're just nuisance animals. Those, yes, but that's not like hunting. That's just shooting shit. It's just like it's just a groundhog. It's just like a prairie dog. Fuck it. Nothing beats a 17 HMR for that, out to 100 yards. Those things. A 17 HMR is a tack driver. I had a 17 HMR, and my dad had been using it for years, and I went home the one time, and I was shooting groundhogs, and I hadn't ranged it out. I was like, wow, I shot that groundhog, and he just ran into his hole. I was like, I can't be missing. Like, this thing is too accurate for that. So I turned around and I looked. I was like, well, there's the old outhouse that we used to use when this is the area where the house is that my mom lives in, that I built for my parents. I paid for it, and so I turn around. I see the old outhouse, and my grandfather had taken this outhouse, and he put a privacy shield on it, which was just basically a little board. It was a kick out that went this way, and then it went this way, and you could open the outhouse door and leave it open. You get air in when you're taking a crap, because it's hot as fuck in an outhouse. And if you were out at that part of the farm, that's the only toilet you had. And so I was looking through the scope, and I could see the nails where the frame was with the plywood that was on the outside had been nailed on, and I could see all these nails, and I'm like, let me draw a bead on one of those nails, and I'll see where I'm shooting. So I draw a bead on this nail, and I measure out my breath, and I draw a bead, and I set the crosshair right on it. I fired, and I'm looking through the scope, and I was like, there is no fucking way. I missed the entire outhouse. What the fuck did my dad do to my rifle? And I'm like, I gotta go look. So I walk down the hill to the outhouse, and I walk down, and I look where, and you can see like the nail, and you can see where the rust was running down a little bit. And I walk and I look, and the nail was gone, and I was like, Jesus. I was like, so I definitely missed that groundhog. What it was I was out at a range where 17 HMR is usually good out to about 9,500 yards, and I was about 117 yards, so it had lost its ability to. 17 HMR is a really, really small round. It's going really fast, and it has a nylon cap, and that nylon cap hits, and it just expands, and it dumps all that energy. Like I was saying, it just explodes inside your target. It's for varmint rounds. And what had happened was I had reached a point where I had gone out past that velocity point. It was still going fast enough and it basically didn't have enough energy to expand and explode, so the bullet went through and through. I mean, the groundhog was still dead, guaranteed. I punched through and through him because I knew where I was aiming, and I didn't fucking miss. But he just crawled back down his hole and died down in there. I was like, oh, that explains it. When I ranged it out, I was like, oh, I'm like 20, 30 yards past where I should be shooting to. And so I just moved my shooting position up to the road, so I was within like 80 yards. 17 HMR, you're never going to find a better shooting gun than that. They are dead on. They're dead on to like 150 yards, but like 100 yards is about where you want to go if you're using it as a varmint round. If you're just shooting target practice, you can shoot it out to about 100, 115, 130, somewhere in there. Now there's another one. It's a 17 caliber Largo. That's got a lot longer range. It's a lot bigger gun, but I didn't find that I have both. I have a 17 HMR and I have a 17 Largo. 17 HMR is really small. Basically what it is, it's a 22 caliber round that's necked down to 17 as opposed to 22. It's screaming. The Largo is a 22 Magnum that's necked down to 17. But I didn't ever like the accuracy I got out of a 17 Largo. I always like the HMR better. So you got it's like a 22 short or a 22 long rifle that's necked down, and then the Largo is a 17 or a 22 Magnum that's necked down to 17. Great varmint guns. And because you're only shooting out to maybe 100 yards, all you need is like a 5-power adjustable scope, if that. Maybe a 10-power if you can get one of those like cheap. Like if you've got a decent set of rings and a fairly decent scope, like you're into it, like maybe $200, if that. Like it's perfectly fine. It's like a budget. That is your budget shooting right there. Totally budget. So, guys, it's been 3 hours. I gotta go. We're not doing this whole 4.5 hour, 2 o'clock in the morning live feed. Ivan, go check out. There's a whole list of videos that you have access to right now that are, since you're a premium member, you have access to an entire list of sharpening tutorials and stuff. I have some sharpening tutorials. I keep saying I'm going to shoot them, and I just fucking don't. I probably should do that tomorrow. I should probably just do the grip progression video. I did the edge testing, paper cut test video for you guys. Just that was kind of a supplemental thing. But guys, I got to go to bed. But I don't have to go to bed. I just got to stop doing this. Because eventually, if I keep drunk, then my wife's going to get mad. Guys, I can't tell you how much I enjoy this. You have a good night. I will talk to you all later. What time is it? It's 11:30 at night anyway here. So that means it's at least 1 o'clock in the morning for 2 o'clock in the morning for a lot of you guys. I'll see you later. I'm gonna try and shoot some videos tomorrow. Go, the stuff's down below, affiliate links and all kinds of shit. Take it easy. I'll see you later.